San Diego, let's get to it. No fluff, no filters, just San Diego sports the way it's supposed to be.
When one asset of your game is not performing at a high level, you need the other portions of your game to step up and overcome those things.
The takes hit different here.
You know, everybody's all worried about the Padres not hitting home runs. The Padres don't need to hit home runs to win games. The home runs are going to come. It's finding different ways to win.
This is the Braden Surprenant Show.
What's up, San Diego? And happy Tuesday, everybody out there in America's finest city. I'm Braden Surprenant. He's Frank Marchese. He might need some new ears at this point. What happened over there?
What do you
Paul
think?
listening to his headset too loud again?
Everyone in this building is deaf.
You didn't test that out before? You know, at this point though, that's your fault.
Bro, no, I'm not saying that.
That's your fault. You should know better when you jump on the airwaves here that your headset's going to be blaring when you jump on.
What?
What? Did you say something?
No, I'm not hungry. Thank you. I just ate. I'm good.
The worst is Chris. Sam's bad too. I will say, if we had done a show after Sam has been on, which is very rare, my headset is blowing up. Elo is the worst on that.
That one.
I usually don't have too many issues taking over in Ben's seat. I really don't when it comes to the headphone usage. But I couldn't even get the show started without Frank jumped out of his seat, dropped his headphones on the ground. It was so loud in his ear. Everybody's deaf over here. I will say this little module thing, if you twist it wrong, it's not going to ever get the right audio. So that is that. All right, let's talk about the fact that the Padres didn't play yesterday and they're 1.5 games out of wild card spot. Huh? How about that?
Can we talk about the fact really quick? A wonderful news station here in San Diego.
Oh boy, here we
just
go.
Gave me a heart attack.
Why?
They put a picture of Dolly Parton. From yesterday.
Her brother passed away?
Yeah. Could you maybe get a picture of her brother instead of making everyone think that Dolly Parton died yesterday?
I mean, would you know who this guy was if it wasn't for Dolly Parton? Maybe? I don't know.
Say who it is, but I don't need a picture of her making it think. Because people only look at numbers and pictures.
Okay. Fair enough.
Anyway, sorry to derail the show.
Squirrel!
Speaking of squirrels, did you see the squirrel yesterday? I thought Squirrely, you know what? That's why Squirrely's not in the YouTube chat. He got caught yesterday trying to run on the field at the Tigers game.
It's true. Oh, it's showing it right now, too.
Oh, what a perfect timing. Yeah, a squirrel got onto the field in Detroit between the Tigers and the Orioles, and they could not get him off. They could not get the squirrel off the field. And then, at one point, Tavares was out there and right, and he got him in his glove, and then it flipped up in the air and did a backflip and landed it. And then there had to be at least 30 to 35 grounds crew sprinting after the squirrel, unable to catch it.
Yeah,
which I'm not saying that's bad because of the fact that I don't think I would have caught the squirrel.
Yeah, here you go. This is Jason Benetti from last night.
The chase for the squirrel is on, and the squirrel is in the corner, and the squirrel is still eluding an entire horde of grounds crew members. And the squirrel's free once again. Hemmed in? No, I won't be hemmed in. I have freedom on my mind. Trying to go between the legs, and eventually he gets away again and hops through the towel and hops through another towel.
I could listen to that all day.
That was Kevin Harlan-esque right there.
Yes, it was.
That was a great job, Benetti. That was awesome. I never got to see. I was watching. So yesterday I was scoreboard watching because the fact the Padres had the day off. So you knew the Padres weren't going to lose, and it was time to root for chaos. And I kept flipping back between games. I mean, the Phillies-Marlins game was very exciting. Marlins ended up winning that game in extra innings, which helps the Padres to an extent. Obviously, the Padres, 1.5 out of the final wild card spot. They're only 3 games back from the number 2 wild card spot. Now, they're a lot further back from the Cubs, who won again against St. Louis, which also helps the Padres in a sense. But I'm flipping back and forth. There's a lot of games. I mean, the Cardinals and the Cubs game was taking a little bit longer to get started due to a rain delay. So I had Marlins and Phillies on. I flipped between that, Arizona and Pittsburgh, and I thought Arizona had a huge chance in that game, and Pirates roared back late, which was great, again, for the Padres. And as I was flipping back and forth, there was a couple of times where the games I was watching were on commercial, and I was like, you know what, I might as well just put it on, MLB Big Inning. And as soon as I put it on MLB Big Inning, boom, squirrels on the field. I mean, I had zero interest in watching Orioles-Tigers. It means nothing to the Padres. It's a meaningless game to San Diego. Who cares? I'm glad I tuned into Big Inning at that time, and it was the volume was low, and they went to it, and then they were doing their own narration. It wasn't as good as Benetti's, I'll tell you that. But I'm glad I got to see that yesterday. Yeah, Squirrel was loose on the field, and again, this is why Squirrely's not in the YouTube chat. Guy's sitting in the sin bin. I then saw what's their mascot's name, Paws or something like that.
Yeah.
Paws was walking around with a giant sign that said "Free the Squirrel."
Good, as he should. And Tim Day, that's a very good shout there. The umpire then got on, turned his field mic on, and said, "Yeah, give the grounds crew a round of applause."
Give the grounds crew a round of applause. So last night, I told you guys yesterday the games that mattered to the Padres, Diamondbacks and Pirates. I mean, that was going to be kind of a wash anyway. But the Pirates were out of a wild card spot. The Diamondbacks were in one, so a Pirates win definitely helped out San Diego. And they won in extra innings 3-2, which was great to see, especially as the Diamondbacks had a 2-1 lead late in that game. Brian Reynolds roped a double to tie the game. Pirates walked it off in the 10th inning. Down in Miami, I thought, the Marlins jumped out to a pretty big lead early in the game. I mean, that game was like 2-2 after one, and then the Marlins put up 3 in the bottom of the second. They were up 5-2, and then the Phillies put up a 4 spot in the 6th inning to make it 6-5. They then added to it in the 8th to made it 7-5, and then the Marlins finally snapped their 12-game losing streak, and they beat the Phillies 8-7 by scoring 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning. Hilltop Lancer, Calvin Fauché, got the victory yesterday for the Miami Marlins, so that was good to see.
Friend of the show.
That is a good win for the Padres. Then you went to the Blue Jays and the Nationals. I was watching some of that game. I saw Luis Urias hit a home run for the Jays. Helped the Padres out a little bit. Blue Jays won 3-2 over the Nationals. That was a good result for the San Diego Padres. Cubs and Cardinals, this could go either way. The Padres are trailing the Cubs by so many games that you really don't want to worry about them yet, but the Cardinals are right there in front of you. Cubs bludgeon the Cardinals 7-3. Cardinals have been awful out of the gate, out of the All-Star break. But that's another victory that went your way. Guardians and Reds. The Reds are a couple of games behind you right now. It's not necessarily a team you want to be paying too much attention to. They're 49-55. They had a rain out yesterday. They're going to make up. They're going to start playing that game 1 of a doubleheader today in about 25-30 minutes or so. So again, at that point, you kind of want the Guardians to win the Battle of Ohio. But with all those results, and they all went the Padres' way. There's not one result that didn't really go the Padres' way last night. The Padres didn't play, and they're now a game and a half out of a wild card spot. This team, I mean, this is more like, I get how many teams are in front of them. I understand that. I understand that they have, that they're, it's going to be more difficult for them to get a playoff spot because of the fact that there's 4 teams in front of them, and they didn't win tiebreakers against the Cubs or the Phillies or the Cardinals, and they're losing the series right now to the Nationals on the season. But the Padres at the All-Star break were 500 and 3.5 games out of a playoff spot. They have now played 10 games, and they are still 500. And they're 1.5 games out of a playoff spot. That's crazy to me. I mean, the Padres have not really changed anything in terms of their, wins and losses. They're still playing 500 baseball. They've played it for most of the season, and yet they picked up not 1 game in the standings. They picked up 2 games in the standings because everybody else around them continues to lose. Now, they helped their own cause by beating Miami over the weekend in 3 straight games. But as it stands right now, the Cubs are, and I'm just going to do the games in front of the Padres. The Cubs are the top wild card spot. That's the spot you want to host a wild card series. That's going to be difficult to catch them, especially since you're already a half game behind them when you're tied because the Cubs won the tiebreaker. So as of right now, you are 7.5 games behind the Cubs. I mean, that's a lot. You're 7 games back in the in the standing sheet, but if you were to tie the Cubs win the tiebreaker, so you're really 7.5 games back of Chicago. You're only 3.5 games back of the Phillies, which would then again be 4 games back of the Phillies because you lost the tiebreaker, which is very unfortunate. But I don't know if you've been paying attention to the Phillies, Frank, but I know you know that the Phillies did not do well in their first series after the All-Star break. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Mets. They played somebody else too, but they have lost every series in the second half, in the ceremonial second half.
Oh, no. Anyway.
So they're starting to fall down a little bit. Their run differential is also -12. Like, their expected win-loss is 52 and 55. If we want to do the run differential game, they're not playing very good baseball. They're not scoring a lot of runs. The reality is they got a really good pitching staff. But you're about to find out, you're going to find out about, does pitching get you to the playoffs between Philly and Chicago? Because Chicago continues to be on a tear, and they don't have pitching. And Philadelphia continues to be on a free fall, and they have the pitching. But they are 4 games in front of the Padres if you factor in the tiebreaker. The Pirates have the final spot. They're a game and a half in front of the Padres. Diamondbacks are tied with the Pirates for that spot, same amount of games back. Washington is a half game in front of the Padres, and the Padres are tied with the Cardinals, who lost again yesterday. Oh, and by the way, the Cardinals have not done well in their games since the second half of the season started. They have won 2 out of the last 10 games and sit tied with the Padres. I mean, tonight, with a victory and a Nationals and Cardinals loss, the Padres would then pass 2 more teams, and they would only have 2 teams in front of them. And maybe only 1 at this point. Because the Padres, if the Padres win tonight, regardless of what happens in Pittsburgh and Arizona, the best the Padres can be is a game and a half out of a wild card spot at the conclusion of tonight. Because one of the Pirates or the Diamondbacks are going to win, and you're going to get you're gonna if you win, you just maintain pace. But let's say the Pirates win again and the Padres win. The Padres would be a game and a half back. The Cardinals would be then 2.5 back. They would have fallen back. The Nationals would be 2 games back, so the Padres would pass both of them. And then the Padres would be they would be a half game back of Arizona. So it would be Pittsburgh, Arizona, San Diego, Washington, St. Louis, if the Pirates win and the Padres win tonight, which is very, very reasonable, to be honest with you. But, I mean, as bad as this team has played this year, and I think they're playing a lot better. I mean, offensively, they've been one of the best offenses in baseball in the last month and a half. We've talked about that on the show. Everybody else around them's collapsing right now, Frank. I mean, they're just kind of just having to stick around. They just have to kind of really play 500 ball right now. Just stay around. And I honestly think that's really changing the outlook of how many wins it's going to take to get that final spot. I think a lot of people said, 86 wins, that's going to be, maybe on the lower side. I mean, the way the National League is playing, it's going to be like, you'd be lucky to make the playoffs at 87 wins. It might be starting to get a lot closer, Frank, to 83 wins like last year with the Cincinnati Reds. And if it's 83 wins, it's very doable for the Padres. They're 30 wins away from potentially being in a playoff spot.
Yeah, and that's why you play these seasons out, because you never know what's going to happen. And with how these teams are coming crashing back down to earth, teams that have had good starts to the season, it does seem a lot more likely that you're not going to need to do as much to make it into the postseason, which is why at this point, you kind of have to go for it. While Miami, St. Louis, and those teams are not really in that position yet, their window isn't open. They're kind of where they are a little bit earlier than what you expected. The Padres have big names. They've got guys who are going to be here for a while, and they got guys who are under big money contracts to help you win and win now. So that is why you should be more willing to buy in this case as it pertains to this trade deadline.
I mean, as of right now, the two teams that are tied for a wild card spot are on pace to win 83 games. I mean, that's the target point right now until one of them starts breaking away, and you get to play these teams, and you get Arizona next week. They're right there in contention. And you know what? I mean, the way that we talked about this team last week with the pitching, we'll see how they do this week against Colorado and the Giants. You know, if they can continue to win with what they have and use this weird level of, you know, this like chaos pitching, it's going to buy them enough time to potentially get to the trade deadline and then make a move. And you know what? I mean, you start looking at some of these teams that are right there, like Miami, St. Louis, and Washington are not going to try to win on Monday. I would be shocked if they go out there and buy on Monday. In fact, I honestly, and I thought about this last year. I mean, not last year. I thought about this in the springtime. And, you know, he's really fallen back down to earth, so probably not. I mean, I would imagine Dustin May was going to get traded at the deadline. His ERA is now up to a 4.59. How many flyers are you willing to take? I mean, that guy, a 4.59 ERA on a rental? I don't know about that. But if you look at the teams right now competing for a playoff spot, it ain't Miami. It ain't St. Louis. It's not Washington. They're not going to be trying on Monday. I think if at the very least, they will, at the worst, they will probably stand pat. But they're not going to buy, which leaves you with the Diamondbacks and the Pirates, and you still control your own destiny against both those teams. In fact, you already took 2 out of 3 against the Pirates in Pittsburgh, which was a huge series for the Padres earlier in the year for them to win, and you're still tied with Arizona. In terms of the overall season schedule, you got to win a couple of series against Arizona. You got to win that series against Arizona next week. That's a very important series for the Padres. After the trade deadline. But it's right there for the taking. Things are working out for the Padres. Now they have to take advantage of it themselves. What's leading to this? Well, the offense is a lot better. And you know whose offense is getting a lot better? Jackson Merrill. Why is it? We'll talk about it next. College sports may have just hit another major turning point. The Protect College Sports Act, a bipartisan bill designed to create national rules for NIL transfers and athlete compensation, is now unlikely to receive a Senate vote before Congress leaves for its August recess. Without federal legislation, the NCAA could continue struggling to enforce consistent rules, and conferences like the SEC and Big Ten may take even more control over their own futures. We've already heard SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey admit that discussions about creating separate rules are real. If Congress can't deliver a national solution, could college football eventually split into different governing systems? That's becoming one of the biggest questions facing the future of college athletics. Senate Majority Leader John Thune announced this week that the Protect College Sports Act is unlikely to receive a full Senate vote before lawmakers leave for their August recess. The bill, introduced by Senators Ted Cruz of Texas and Maria Cantwell of Washington, is designed to create nationwide rules for college athletics. Amongst its biggest goals are establishing consistent NIL regulations, protecting eligibility rules, clarifying transfer policies, and giving the NCAA limited antitrust protection so it can actually enforce those rules without facing constant legal challenges. Supporters believe it's the best opportunity college sports has had in years to create one national standard, but with time running out on the congressional calendar, that opportunity may have to wait. But the principle of this, Frank, I think is very good. I like all of these changes, and I think the biggest problem for Congress right now is, one, and we're going to get to this, the SEC and Big Ten aren't fully on board, but two, having them to be on board. Set your rules, and then let's have everybody follow these rules, because if the SEC and the Big Ten get to dictate what happens, you're not really setting rules for everybody anyway. You're just letting the SEC and Big Ten govern everybody else in college athletics.
No, exactly right. And the fact that you're getting this now, this vote probably won't go through until September now. So that's into the season. That's going to change everything. That's going to create a whole bunch of other issues for college athletics for this football season and potentially basketball season as well, depending upon how long this goes. So this is not an ideal situation for people who want clarity like us in college athletics going into the future. It's not necessarily the ideal scenario here, as this vote might be pushed back until the end of August or into September.
So the SEC and the Big Ten, they don't like pooling TV contracts. They don't like having to share the money. They don't a lot of these issues. They don't like the limit on expanding their conferences. And without the support of the SEC and the Big Ten, the bill faces an uphill battle in Congress. But to me, those are all the rules that you need to put in place to make it a level playing field to begin with. And you know what? What is it going to just be the southern states that are going to have their Congress people decline this? I mean, I just think that you have to try to put this in without letting the SEC and the Big Ten benefit the most. Otherwise, it doesn't even matter.
You're getting to a point now where a vast majority of fans are starting to feel kind of the way baseball fans do. That if you keep putting this out and if you keep on delaying this, and the SEC is getting this from both ends as well, from not just this Protect College Sports Act, but also the expansion of the college football playoff, it's all about money. And the more and more people start to realize that, and the more and more of these stories are starting to come out, you're going to start getting the court of public opinion starting to agree with the NCAA more and more and more, and start paying less and less attention to these conferences not being on their side nearly as much or nearly as vigorously. So if the SEC and the Big Ten want to save at least some sort of face here, stop looking at the wallet and start looking at the bigger picture as to what is going on in college athletics.
If they take care of what's better for college football, eventually they will get to the money that they want. When you decide to just go with greed and what you already, and then just have a money standpoint, it's a big reason why they call greed a 7 deadly sin, because eventually it comes back to haunt you. And the SEC and the Big Ten are so arrogant right now, they think they're indestructible, which is another big problem for major, decision makers. But, what happens if Congress doesn't act? I think if lawmakers fail to act, conferences may begin creating their own governance models. I think that creates more chaos. You know who doesn't benefit? Anybody in college athletics, because it's less eyeballs on your product. It's less people engaged in your product. And I don't think they understand the consequences of their actions of, we're just going to split off because we're so great and everybody's going to love us. It's like, I don't think that's going to be the case. I really don't. I think you're going to be a regional sport, but when you start turning yourself into a professional version of the sports, what's going to happen is you become a minor league of the professional leagues. And you know what minor league sports don't get a lot of? Attention, viewership, engagement, and at the end of the day, money. So Congress has roughly 2 weeks remaining before its August recess. And with the midterms coming up, they're not going to have a lot of time to get all of this done before they start worrying about elections. So if there's no agreement reached before the break, meaningfully available. I can see why. He's 3-9 with a 6.53 ERA. You know what? He can't face Team USA all the time, which he would do really poor. He did very well. The Team USA did very poor against Michael Lorenzen and his vans that he has. All right, we're going to talk about Jackson Merrill here in a second, but we're going through the schedules right now because I think at this point, I mean, if you want to catch maybe Philly, it's still relatively in control, but you're just trying to make the playoffs right now. Why get greedy? And I'm looking at the schedule for the teams coming up that you're competing with. Because I think at this point, I think there's only 2 teams you're competing with for a wild card spot right now. Because I don't think St. Louis is going to give up their plan of the future to go after this year the way that they're playing in the second half. I don't think Washington is going to do that. I think Miami thought about doing that, but after losing 12 straight games, I don't think they are going to do that. So that leaves you with Pittsburgh and Arizona as the 2 teams that you're competing with for the final playoff spot, which, by the way, they're not very good, either of them. And I watched them play yesterday, and I know like the Padres are, they are what they are. They're a 500 ball club right now. This is why, like, the trading the Mason Miller thing never made sense to me and will still continue to never make sense to me because of, people are like, they're not going to be able to compete for the next 2 or 3 years. Look at this team. I mean, look where they're at right now in the standings and look who they're competing with that's left. You start going through the schedules. The Padres have the easiest schedule out of the bunch. I mean, we knew about that before we even did this exercise. But, I look at the Padres schedule and I start looking at very important series for them moving forward. Because, again, they're a game and a half out of a wild card spot. I mean, this week they have to dominate the 2 bad teams. This is where you have to rack up wins and help your cause. It's against Colorado and it's against San Francisco. It's 6 straight games at home where you play 2 teams that are beyond miserable. Beyond miserable. You should be able to go at least 4-2. And if you really want to be get hot, this is the time to get hot. You just won 3 games in Miami. It would be nice to go 5-1. It would be nice to go on a little bit of a winning streak and put the pressure on everybody else. But, until we see that from the Padres, it's hard to expect that from the Padres. Next week is important series numero uno for the Padres, at least in terms of when you get important series. Because next week they go to Arizona for 4 games. You're going to have to win a tiebreaker against Arizona. You have 7 games left against Arizona. You basically have a 7-game series against Arizona. So you got to play 4 games on the road. You play 3 games at home. I mean, at this point, you're looking to either split in Arizona. It'd be nice to win 3 out of 4. That would really put you in a favorable position when you come home. But you win 1 game in Arizona. Let's say you go 1-3, which would stink. But you win the final series of the season because you finish the season with Arizona. You take 2 out of 3. You really should just, at that point, you got to win your home games. You would have to sweep. But you got to win 4 of the 7 against Arizona. That's what you have to do. So it's probably better to split in Arizona and then try to get them the last weekend of the year. But that's the most important series. Or should I say the 2 against Arizona? They got Houston. Is Houston going to buy? I mean, they're around there. You don't know what type of team Houston's going to be by the time you play them. You get them at home. Milwaukee's going to be tough, right? Then they go to Cleveland and New York. Games against the American League teams are not as important, but right now I know you need as many wins as possible. They go to New York to take on the Mets. They got the Twins, and then they got to handle business against the Pirates here, August 24th to the 26th. They go to Tampa Bay, which is tough. They're going to play at Cincinnati, who at that point is going to be out of it. You got the Yankees at home. I don't really think the Yankees are that great. I really don't. And I don't know what type of team they're going to be in by September, what type of ads they end up making. You got Washington, who doesn't seem like they're going to be still in it by September. Then you got at San Francisco, at Colorado for 7 straight games. You got Miami. September Miami is going to look a lot different than the Miami team you just swept. And then you got 3 in L.A., who at that point probably had already clinched multiple playoff spots. Who knows what they're going to be like. And then you finish up with Arizona. I honestly think, I'm going to call it now, based on the way the Padres have played this year, that 3-game series against Arizona will be the first playoff series that the Padres play. That will be a playoff series. I think whoever wins that series is in. I think you're getting a home playoff series on September 25th, 26th, and 27th against Arizona. Because I think those are the two teams that are going to hang around the longest. I mean, we'll see what Pittsburgh does. I mean, we still got a trade deadline to get through, and who knows what these teams look like. I mean, Arizona could go out there and acquire some big pieces. Pittsburgh could get the bullpen help that they need. You never know. But those are some of the big series for the Padres. Then you start looking at who the other teams are playing. I mean, this is who Arizona's got. Okay, so they got to finish this week at Pittsburgh, which is a playoff team right now. Then they go to Cleveland, who's a playoff team right now. Then they got San Diego for 4, the Dodgers for 3. Then Colorado, a little bit of a break. Then Arizona's got to go to Atlanta and Boston on a road trip. They come back, they play Cincinnati. Okay, Cincinnati's been okay. I mean, they're not going to be a world beater by any means. And then they got the Cubs. They go to San Francisco for 4, including a doubleheader, and then they come back, and guess what? They got Philly at Houston, at Kansas City, a little bit of break with the Royals. They got Texas, who's in a division battle right now. Miami, who's scrappy, but not that great. The New York Yankees, and they finish up with the Rockies and the Padres. That's a tough schedule, Frank, to navigate if you're the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah, that is. Especially that stretch: Atlanta, Boston, Cincinnati, Chicago. That's going to be a tough. That's going to be a tough 12-game stretch for them.
I mean, you got the break with the Rockies, but you go Padres, Dodgers, Rockies, Braves, Red Sox, Reds, Cubs. August 3rd to the 26th. That's tough. That's tough. And then you got the Giants, but after the Giants, you got Philly. I mean, during that stretch, you got a team that's 1.5 games out of a playoff spot as of right now. I mean, even right now. Pirates, playoff team. Guardians, playoff team as of right now. Padres, 1.5 games out of a playoff spot. Dodgers, I don't need to say more. Rockies, who suck. Atlanta, division leader. Boston, playoff team. Cincinnati, okay. Chicago, playoff team. Giants, stink. Philly, playoff team. That's going from today all the way to the first week of September. They have 3 breaks in there. They got a break with the Rockies, they got a break with the Reds, and they got a break with the Giants that they have to absolutely dominate to make up for all these other games, these tough opponents that they got to deal with. That's Arizona. Let's look at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's not, they don't have an easy schedule either. They got Arizona, Cincinnati, who's hot right now. We'll see what happens with the Reds, and we're about to watch them play the Guardians here in a second. Then they got Milwaukee for 4 on the road. They get a break because they get to play the Mets and the Marlins, if the Marlins are even a break. Then you got Red Sox, Tigers. I don't know where the Tigers going to be. They going to keep Tarek Skubal? That definitely alters that. Then listen to this road trip that they got. At L.A., at San Diego, at St. Louis. They got the Giants and the Angels who are a break. Then they got an at Chicago series, which the White Sox are playing for a division. Cubs are a playoff team. They go White Sox, Cubs, Brewers, Royals, Cardinals, Tigers to finish up the year. I would say their schedule's slightly easier than Arizona's, but it's still not that easy. Things are looking up for the Padres right now. They're going the Padres' way. Now the Padres have to take advantage of it and rack up some wins this week against Colorado and San Francisco. In order to do that, you need Jackson Merrill to stay hot. And you know what? They also got to be starting to think about being very clever at the trade deadline. We'll explain what that means when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's Urban Sports Station, 97 through the Fan. San Diego FC finally find the missing piece. Club introduced new designated player Elias Okuri this week, and unlike the Chucky Lozano signing, the move was made by sporting director Tyler Heaps and coach Mikey Varas after months of scouting to make sure he fits the team's culture and style. Then, just hours later, San Diego picked up a huge 1-0 victory over FC Dallas behind Alejandro Alvarado Jr.'s first MLS goal and a game-saving defensive play from Mano Dua in stoppage time. After blowing late leads all season, San Diego FC finally finished a match. Now the question becomes, can Okuri help lead San Diego back into the playoff race second half of the season? starts now. And we look at the way that they were able to revive themselves over the weekend, got that extra player they needed, Frank, and ended up getting a 1-0 victory.
Yeah, the club officially announced Tunisian international winger Elias Achouri as its newest designated player, and just hours later, earned a much-needed 1-0 victory over FC Dallas. So after months of late-game collapses and inconsistent play, they showed signs of San Diego FC that we remember from last year and before the start of this season. It was a very, very big weekend for San Diego FC for sure.
Which started with a very frustrating week, obviously, because they suffered a heartbreaking 1-0 loss at Colorado after conceding a goal in stoppage time, continuing a troubling trend of giving away points late in matches. But the response against FC Dallas was exactly what this club needed. Alejandro Alvarado Jr. scored his first MLS goal to give San Diego the lead. Monodua made a spectacular recovery block in stoppage time to preserve the victory, and it marked the club's first win since May, and more importantly, proved they can finally close out a match. They needed that in the biggest way.
Yeah, first win since May. They haven't played since about May because of the World Cup, so it's not like a big dry spell for them. But yeah, this was a huge comeback victory, and for Alvarado, a huge announce yourself moment for them. We talked about it on the show on Monday about him consistently trying to be more of a team player and be a playmaker and look for the perfect pass instead of just going out there and taking the moment for himself. He does that, takes a long shot from outside the box and rolls it on through for the one and only goal in the 50th minute of that game on Saturday night. So big moment for Alvarado. And again, it felt like a turning point for San Diego FC.
San Diego now travels to face Minnesota United, one of the Western Conference's toughest teams at home. Big question is whether San Diego FC can build on the momentum from the Dallas victory before opening a very important Leagues Cup play against Club Tijuana next week. I mean, it's only one game, but I feel like, you know, the consistencies or the trend lines and the mirroring between the Padres and San Diego FC both need a better second half. Both have shown that they can compete at a high level. Both haven't been able to finish, and both finally started to do that, but need to do it on a consistent basis. We saw that San Diego FC can be the team that you expect them to be, but can they do that more than just once a week? That's going to be the big question leading into a very tough stretch for them in the second half.
Yeah, and right now, San Diego FC currently sees themselves within striking position as far as the standings out west are concerned. They currently sit at 20 points, and the cut line is 25. That's 2 wins. Right. Actually, no, I'm sorry. The cut line sits at 23. That's 2 wins. That's an win. And you're playing the team that currently holds that cut line position, that playoff position right now in Minnesota. They're sitting 1 point behind Seattle. Houston and Dallas are 26 points. They're 5 and 6. And St. Louis City is at 25 points, and they're sitting 7th. So you're not far away. You can still make moves, and there's a lot of time left in this season. You're going to be playing a lot of games here very, very close because you had to stop for the World Cup break. But still, a playoff spot is certainly not out of the question. You look and see, they're 12th in standings. They're a win away from being a playoff team. So, yes, they could be doing a lot better, but they're not far off of where they need to be.
Elias Achouri, too, is, a new designated player. And, Chucky Lozano, obviously, he's got a cult following, and they were on display over the weekend. And we mentioned this on the show. I mean, with the problems that San Diego FC has, Chucky Lozano's not fixing those problems. This is not a byproduct of not having him part of the team anymore. But which is interesting about Achouri is, they signed Lozano to be that mainstay guy, the promotion face of the franchise to get people engaged with San Diego FC. But now that they have established themselves as a team that can compete, you want to have somebody that actually fits your team and fits your style of play and fit Mikey Varas' style of play. And Achouri is one of those guys. I mean, he's not being asked to replace Lozano. Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. A quick 2-game series between the Padres and the Rockies today and tomorrow. Tomorrow is an afternoon game, so we will be broadcasting live at the Bill House studio at the Loft downtown at Petco Park. Should be a fun time tomorrow. Getting ready for Padres and Rockies. Hopefully the Padres can continue their winning ways by knocking off Colorado and Michael Lorenzen tonight. 6:40 starts, 5:40 Ecowater SoCal Padres pregame show. We'll have all the coverage here on 97.3 The Fan. Thanks again for tuning in to the broadcast on YouTube. We broadcast live on YouTube. We're also on the Odyssey app. Wherever you get your podcasts, you can go back and listen to us or watch us on YouTube or the Odyssey app or everything, anywhere you get your podcast. We also have shirts for sale, some merch, if you will. If you watch on the Braden Surprenant Show page, you can see the links for the merchandise. We got different shirts. We got a white T-shirt that's got the our graphic on the back. We have a blue and orange T-shirt. We got a brown and gold T-shirt. We got a brown and orange T-shirt. We got a blue and gold T-shirt. So a lot of different T-shirts to represent the different teams here in San Diego. So again, if you're watching on the Braden Surprenant Show page, they flash up. You can click on it. If not, you can Google search Braden Surprenant Show merch. It's on Shopify. We got a lot of shirts that we want to pass along your way. Rep the show. We appreciate that. It is in the link in the description below, if I'm not mistaken, as well. There's a bunch of links in there. There's one to the Shopify account also. So if you miss any of that, you can go to the link below and you'll be able to find it. But we have those up and available for you, getting to you very quickly. It's a very easy process. So appreciate you guys supporting the show and repping us around San Diego. I know a lot of people have done that. I saw Trav Gundy was repping his shirt yesterday during the show. Very comfortable. They're incredibly comfortable shirts. I mean, even the cotton ones are very comfortable. So get yourself a shirt today. Rep the Braden Surprenant Show. It helps us out. We really appreciate you guys in doing that. Let's talk about what happened over the weekend for the Padres. We didn't get a deeper dive into this. We talked a lot of trade deadline stuff, which we'll continue to talk about. And in the next segment, we will let you know about the latest rumors out there in Major League Baseball. But the biggest takeaway from the weekend, and I think the last month, and relatively the last month and a half, has been the complete turnaround of the offense. The narrative all season was that the Padres couldn't hit. It's the worst offense in baseball. That's simply not true anymore. Since June 8th, the Padres are a top 10 offense in Major League Baseball. Since June 30th, they're top 3 in OPS in baseball with a 792 team OPS. They're averaging 5.7 runs per game, which is the 6th best in Major League Baseball. The offense has quietly become one of baseball's better groups after being historically awful for over a month. And a big reason for that has been Jackson Merrill. He is perhaps the biggest individual story during this stretch, his resurgence. After months of struggling, Merrill says he simply went back to watching his high school video. He said, "Swing like me." Mechanically, coaches noticed he moved his hands further away from his body, allowing him to attack pitches more directly, and the confidence returned almost immediately. And since the Kansas City breakout that he had, where he was, he's been 9 for 24, 3 home runs, 2 doubles, the mental lesson is important. Instead of searching for a complicated fix, Merrill trusts the swing that got him to the major leagues. And you know what, Frank? That sounds very similar to a lot of the other guys that's decided to be like, you know what? I'm just going to make things simpler. And it's worked out for Manny. It's worked out for Merrill. It's worked out for Tatis.
That's why I always go back to that Pete Rose video from an old MLB Network bit that he did. Was you do 6 things if you're in a slump. You move up in the box, you move back in the box, you move in, you move out. 4 things. Those are the only things that you do. You never change your swing because your swing is what got you to that point. So most of the time it's a timing issue, which means you move around in the box. You never move your hands. You never change your swing. And that is proven once again to be true, at least here in the case for Jackson Merrill. He tried to change his swing, And now he's gone back to the swing that got him where he is, and look at what he's doing now.
It's a big reason why this team is talking about buying at the deadline, why they think that they can get it. This is the team that everybody thought they were going to be. Now, it's one series against Miami, who had lost, at that point, 9 straight games before they took on the Padres. But that being said, they have the ability to continue that this week. This is a very big week for them to take advantage of the fact that the Rockies and the Giants are terrible. I mean, they're terrible. There's no way around it. The Padres should beat up the Rockies and the Giants this week. They're terrible. That doesn't mean it's going to happen, though. I mean, baseball, there's a lot of weird things. We talked about Merrill. The other player that's, on a resurgence has been Manny Machado. And, he's been quietly carrying this lineup. He had the big knock on Sunday that led to Merrill getting, almost going back to back. But, his production has been back to what Manny Machado is. 293 average since June. 1008 OPS since June. Padres are also doing something they rarely did in previous years. They're giving Machado regular DH days. This is where you're starting to see this. We heard them say that we're going to do this in spring training. You're seeing Machado a lot more as a designated hitter in the last couple of series. I mean, they got to try to preserve his legs, which I think is a smart decision because you need him in the lineup. And last year, he really ran out of gas, trying to replicate everything he did in the first half of the season. So instead of fighting the DH role like Machado once did, he's embracing it. And I think that's going to work out for the Padres in September. I think you're going to continue to see Manny Machado swinging a hot bat. And you got a good defensive play. You got good defensive players that can play third base. Sungmoon Song can play third base. He's an exceptional fielder. Jake Cronenworth in a pinch can play third base. I mean, they have players that can play third base and they can move things around so Manny can be a DH. And I think it's going to work out for him. I mean, and he's done extremely well as a DH and hitting over the last couple of months. And he's getting back to what you thought he would be. Fernando, back to what you thought he would be. Obviously not as much with the home runs, but since his first home run, he's hitting home runs more on a, probably a little bit slower, but more on a pace that you're used to seeing Fernando hit. And the stars are starting to show exactly why they're on this team and why they're stars to begin with, Frank.
Yeah, and for guys like Manny, Father Time is undefeated. So you're going to have to take these different roles as far as DH if you want to last the remainder of the season. We know Manny wants to be out there every single day. I think he only missed 3 games last season, which is fantastic. But you also have to know how and when to pace yourself and take those DH days when they're given to you. And he's done a very good job of, one, taking those days, recognizing when he needs them, taking them, and doing the most that he can with them, especially recently. So it's a lot of changing around. And yes, there are other options to play third base, not everyday options, but there are guys who can fill in for a spot start here and there. You're not relying on Eggy Rosario to carry you for a 2-week span.
Or Rougned Odor.
Yeah, or Rougned Odor to carry you for a couple-week span because Manny pulled something because he's trying too hard.
Padres spent most of the season waiting for their stars to get hot simultaneously, and you're starting to get it with Machado and Merrill. I mean, since late June, Machado, 293, 1008 OPS. Merrill, 294, 844 OPS. And when both middle-of-the-order bats are producing, offense suddenly looks a little bit dangerous. Mix in the fact that out of all those guys, Ty France has been your hottest hitter. A full breakdown on MLB Network today about Ty France and his breakout season. I mean, Craig Stammen credited both players for putting in the work and trusting the coaching staff despite months of criticism. And you know what? I think you got to give the coaching staff a lot of credit. A lot of people wanted the entire staff fired like a month ago. But Machado turned it around. Fernando turned it around. Merrill turned it around. Ty France having a career year. I mean, they're getting a lot of good offensive production from these players, and it's a big reason why they probably will buy on Monday. And that leads to, and we're going to talk more about this later on, and I kind of want to, get into it a little bit, but we had a conversation with Tony Gwynn Jr. off the air yesterday about whatever, and about the trade deadline, and it's his perspective as a player and a former player is way different than I think a lot of people that are worried about the future all the time. None of these players are worried about the future with the prospects. Because again, there's no guarantee for a lot of these guys. I mean, I don't know how many times we've mentioned that, Frank. I mean, the odds of getting anything really big from prospects is very slim, and I think it just hurts right now for the Padres fans because they think they can have C.J. Abrams and James Wood on this current team because of the Juan Soto deal. And I honestly think a lot of people forgot the fact that they went to the NLCS with Juan Soto. Do people forget that? And if Fernando didn't get in trouble, that's a team that's probably going a little bit further than the NLCS. But the odds of these guys that everybody you trade turning into studs is just so slim. And there's a lot of moves that could be made at the trade deadline where you just trade a bunch of bulk. But I don't know what they're going to do. I think they're the biggest wild card. I'm going to tell you right now, if they have the week this week that we're expecting them to have, I honestly don't even think they do the buy nor the sell. I think they literally just buy. I don't think they trade away Adrian Morejon, even though I am open to doing that. I know the risk there would be like, well, who's going to face these guys in the left hand or out of the bottom? I mean, you have to trade something. You have to trade something of value. I can't just sit here and be like, yeah, just trade, Wandy Peralta and get some prospects back, or trade Wandy Peralta and flip it for a strike. It's like, it doesn't work like that. You have to trade something of value. You can't keep Salas, Schoolcraft, can't keep Mayfield, can't keep all of those guys and Morejon. It's like it's going to be very difficult for them to do that and then add something that like really means anything to the lineup. But you're willing to go all in. I don't know why you would do that with this team, though. I find restraint on trying to go all in with the team that you currently have, but I guess a week can change things. I don't know how much of the buying and selling they're going to do if they have a good week this week. I just feel like it's you have too many valuable pieces that you would have to find new players to fit other holes at this point with potentially trading Morejon or something else. I mean, if they move like Wandy Peralta, I would not be totally shocked, but I wouldn't expect to get a huge return out of it. I mean, eventually, like, you have to be able to keep some of your roster intact. So, and the way that AJ Preller operates, I mean, let's say they go 4-2 this week, which is not like a crazy thing. 4-2. I mean, they go 4-2, they'll be 57 and 55. They'll be 2 games above 500 if they go 4-2. They'll pick up 2 games. They could be in a playoff spot at that point. I mean, I think they would probably have to go 5-1. But I can't imagine these guys selling anything on Monday if they have a good week. I really don't. We talked about the injury report from Kevin Acee yesterday about Estrada and Adams and Morgan. It sounded like Estrada could come back this week. It sounded like Morgan was mid-August, and it sounded like Adam was late August. The reality is that with the bullpen, like it'd be nice to have a high-leverage lefty like a Morejon. I mean, they have a lot of lefties in the bullpen, but, can you risk throwing Matsui against Ohtani in a playoff game? I mean, maybe he'll slow him down. I mean, Wandy Peralta. I mean, nobody wanted Wandy Peralta in the 8th inning the other day. He's got to go out there and face Freddie Freeman in a playoff game, or any of these other big time lefties. Is that who you're going to bring in to face Bryce Harper? If you could trade Matsui and Peralta, then yeah, absolutely do it. Maybe it'll free up some space, and I think, and we're going to get to this in the next segment. Frank, it's starting to sound like a lot of these teams that are buyers are starting to get desperate because there's not a lot of teams that are willing to sell right now.
No, and especially like we've been talking about Mason Miller per Jeff Passan. The Padres have told other teams that if you want Mason Miller, there's no such thing as an off-limits player. So that just goes to show the seller's market is there. It's if you want a guy, you're going to have to pay top dollar for him.
I agree. The other thing too, it's like I don't think that a lot of teams can match the price. And here's the thing. We saw the update from Joel Sherman about the Padres looking at all the Yankees minor leaguers. It's going to be rough for Yankees fans when it's Wandy Peralta going back there. I'm just saying. What's the rumors out there on the MLB trade market? We'll get to them next. Oh, no. What happened in Cincinnati?
They should have taken the hit by pitch.
Did they challenge a play?
Kyle Manzardo took a pitch up and in, and then appealed to the umpire that it hit his knuckles. Umpires reviewed it, said no, he didn't, brought him back, and then two pitches later, he hit a grand slam.
He gets a grand slam.
Yeah, off of Chase Burns, who threw about 40 or so pitches in the first inning.
Brutal. That's tough when you are playing a doubleheader.
Uh-huh.
Let me put on my I'm gonna shed a tear for the Reds. One less team to worry about.
Hold on, I got you. Hold on. Is it? There it is.
There it is.
We done crying now?
I mean, Kirk Herbstreit's already moved on. He moved on in April. Have you ever heard Kirk Herbstreit? Kirk Herbstreit does not criticize anybody, right? Like in college football, he's pretty. He says a couple. He's not that critical, right? Because he's got to be neutral. As an Ohio guy, Ohio State guy, right? So his opinions about the Reds are hilarious to me. He just rips them a new you-know-what all the time. I mean, he said that team was dead in April. Oh, there's our 20. Well, look out. Stewart.
Hold on to thine bat.
I've seen a lot of guys lose their bat this year. Is that just is this the common thing? Or does this seem like this year it's happening a lot more? That thing went flying. Oh, look out. Good thing that net was there.
I may have gotten that kid too still.
Yeah.
Because that net does have some give.
That net has some give, and she was right there on the wall. Anyway. They said they were done months ago, Kirk Herbstreit. I love his tweets about the Reds. They crack me up.
It just goes to prove my point. No one hates your team more than you do.
I bet you I could find some.
So that's all there is. No one hates the Mets more than I do.
What about Frank the Tank? Maybe.
A fan of the team hates the team more than someone who's not a fan of that team. You hate your team more than anyone else can.
Let me. I bet you could find some of these. The Kirk Herbstreit Cincinnati Reds tweets kill me. It's so funny. It's so funny. That's a great thing about AI now. I can just search everybody's tweets. It's great. This is what he put out. All right, you ready for this? This is what he put out on June 30th. Kirk Herbstreit talking about his favorite team, the Reds. Bro, after 13 straight years of this BS, he spelt it all out, though. You need to realize you're bleeping into the wind. It will not change. The Reds baseball season is mid-February to early to mid-May. That's it. This season was over weeks ago. I feel bad for you with all these tweets. Go watch some soccer. Get some preseason football magazines. Go on a summer trip. Anything but deal with this nonsense on a daily basis. It's over. Time to move on. Wow. Kirk Herbstreit said that on June 30th. Don't watch the World Cup. This team sucks. Don't watch them anymore. May 11th, 2025. So predictable, Reds. Another year of inconsistent hitting. Same thing for the last 12 years. Season essentially over in early May. Didn't they make the playoffs last year?
Yep. Yeah, they did.
How could a team not hit for 12 years? Feel bad for Tito, one of the best managers in our lifetime. Even he can't turn this franchise around. Just doomed. He tweeted this out in July 12th, 2025. Long, frustrated rant that includes the hitting has been very inconsistent for years and painful to watch. The team has no clue how to win close games. So frustrating. And my dumb bleep just keeps turning on FanDuel Sports Network every day hoping this nightmare will stop, and it never does. Somebody get PO'd and demand more. Somebody, anybody, be a leader in all caps. Kirk Herbstreit having Cincinnati Red crash outs it relates back to college football some way, Frank. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Kirk Herbstreit having crash outs about his favorite baseball team. I mean, he's on air. Sometimes he says stuff I disagree with, but he's always very stoic. He's always very in the middle. Like, he's very sensible. When it comes to the Cincinnati Reds, oh, brother, is he not sensible at all? Out the window. He's like, one of us. One of us. One of us. One of us. Gotta love the crash outs. All right. We got a lot of trade deadline stuff to talk about. We got some rumors that have come out today. Let's play the music. Let's figure out what's going on in Major League Baseball today.
Oh, we got a decent amount of stuff as far as the rumors goes. I believe you have a liner you can read here. This would be kind of a perfect time to do it, would it not?
With 97 Through the Fans trade deadline coverage presented by City Cruises Live. Experiences done different.
There you go. The MLB Trade Deadline, 6 days away at this point. Rumors are getting close. We'll start with the New York Yankees here. Cody Bellinger, thank you for taking one of our sports thread topics. Cody Bellinger is out 4 to 6 weeks. Aaron Judge still nowhere close to returning. Suddenly a team that needs bullpen help, a catcher, and maybe a shortstop, definitely a shortstop, now has another massive hole in the lineup to fill. Are the Yankees now desperate enough to overpay at the trade deadline?
I already think they're desperate to overpay because there's not a lot of things out there. There's not a lot of players out there for them to go fill all of these roster holes. And on top of that, they don't have enough to give up. They don't have enough. I mean, they need what did he say? They need a shortstop. They need an outfielder. They need a catcher. They need bullpen help.
They need a new team, effectively.
How are they going to do that? Like, this is another reason why I don't think Mason Miller gets traded, on top of the fact that the Padres are a game and a half out of a playoff spot right now. You're going to have to give up like half your team for Mason Miller anyway. Then what are you going to have left to trade? What are you going to trade? Somebody, Will Warren?
A hope and a dream.
I mean, come on. That Yankees team is mediocre at best. I don't know how they're going to be able to replenish everything. No wonder the Padres were at all of their minor league affiliates with their scouts this weekend. They're probably doing their due diligence because they know the Yankees are open for business. I bet you they'd take Wandy Peralta right now. I'd give him Wandy Peralta. Wandy Peralta's had a good year. That's some bullpen help. Yeah, you already got him in a Yankees uniform. I could totally see the Padres giving him Wandy Peralta. They're not going to have enough to trade for everything. Wandy Peralta would be a cheap arm for them. Then they can save everything to go get a short. Who are you going to go get as a shortstop? And try to get C.J. Abrams? I mean, the Nationals are like, yeah, well, listen. I mean, the Nationals are treating the C.J. Abrams situation like the Padres are treating the Mason Miller. It's like, yeah, sure, make us an offer. But I don't know how much for sale C.J. Abrams really is. And how about this? The Yankees have to compete with the Red Sox for a shortstop because the Red Sox need a shortstop. Where are they going to get the assets to trade for these pieces? They're going to get desperate. They might overpay for a Wandy Peralta. They might. What's next on our
Here's your fun stat of the day.
I love fun stats.
Anthony Volpe E6 has now committed more errors in his Major League career, 55, than he has hit home runs in his Major League career, 53.
That's fun.
It is fun. Tarek Skubal reminded everyone why he is one of the best pitchers in baseball. With 12 strikeouts on Friday, he's scheduled to pitch tomorrow. Detroit keeps slipping in the wild card race, and now everyone from Milwaukee to Los Angeles is circling. If you are the Tigers, is there any trade package good enough to move Tarek Skubal?
Yeah, I think there's a couple. I think the Dodgers could totally get Tarek Skubal. And the thing is they don't even need him. Like, they don't even need him. They might just get him so they don't have to face him. But, like, there's definitely some trade. I mean, the rotation for the Tigers is still decent without, like, coming back next year. It's good without Tarek Skubal. And I think at this point they decided to, they're not going to get it. I mean, they're not going to get him in free agency. He's going to go anyway. That's why they brought in a Framber Valdez to kind of help solidify that rotation and go after it with Tarek Skubal this year and see what you could do during the offseason. I think the Tigers could totally make some moves. I mean, maybe they could get a pitcher that's ready to go for the Dodgers to give him Tarek Skubal. But I don't know if the Rays have enough to go after him. I mean, it'd be nice if Milwaukee got Tarek Skubal. I think that would tip the scales a little bit in the National League, at least make it competitive with LA. But I think the Dodgers have so much that they could give up that they might unload their farm system and overpay for Tarek Skubal just so the Brewers can't have him. I mean, that's just kind of the lap of luxury that they live in. There's definitely some stuff out there for... there's definitely some moves out there to trade Tarek Skubal for the Tigers.
Ron in La Mesa asking for a foul in the chat. I will oblige you.
Foul. No, 2 fouls.
You gave him a tech?
He wanted it. Ryan Jeffers suddenly might become the hottest position player available because Shea Langoliers is hurt and Hunter Goodman probably now isn't moving. Is catcher now the most valuable position at the trade deadline?
Is it not always one of the most valuable positions at the trade deadline? I mean, there's not a lot of catchers that go around. There's definitely not a lot of catchers that can hit and field, right? So I could see that being the case. I know the Yankees need a catcher. Good luck. And the thing is scarcity drives value. So there's a scarcity for good catchers, and several contenders need catching. Jeffers becomes enormous in terms of like the leverage the Twins have, and that one injury changes the whole market. Now the Twins all of a sudden are like, do we really need a buy right now? I mean, maybe we should sell this guy and think about the next year. You might be able to get something for him. I think teams are going to overpay at the trade deadline this year.
Going to have to. The Houston Astros are below 500, but only 2 games out of first place in the AL West.
And a game and a half out of a wild card spot.
And Dana Brown says they are absolutely buying. Can a losing team justify buying at the trade deadline?
I think yes, because of a couple of reasons, and they both involve the games back in both the division and the wild card. I mean, this is a team that could still win their division.
Yeah, it's not
and they're below 500.
It's not about record. It's about proximity to a playoff position. That's what it is. And they are within reasonable proximity to a playoff position.
And all of these teams value being in the playoffs more than like, oh, let's punt for a perfect season the next year so we can win in the playoffs. Everybody in baseball understands that the baseball playoffs are a crapshoot. Weird things happen. It's a weird sport. It's why you get like the Nationals that go on a run in the postseason. It's why you get the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Texas Rangers in a World Series, in 2023. It's weird and it's unpredictable. So it doesn't surprise me that teams like the Astros, who are below 500, but looking at the standings going like, we want to be in the playoffs. Life's a lot better when you're in the playoffs. I would much rather be in the playoffs than not in the playoffs. I don't care how likelihood I am of winning the entire thing. You want to be in the dance. That's what people want to be. So the division is still there. Windows do close fast. And if you believe you could win the division, why not? I mean, go hang a banner. You're right there on Texas's ass. It's not like they're running away with it. I mean, Texas has the same run differential as the Padres at -21. And they're 2 games above 500. I mean, Texas right now is playing at a clip. If they played this winning percentage for the entire year, they're on pace to go 82-80. I mean, if 82 wins gets you a division championship, and you're 2 games under 500, you got to go for it.
Go, baby, go.
You got to go for it. All right.
they just showed Mickey Moniak on MLB Central. I would love for the Padres to say on Wednesday, hey, just stick around for a little while longer after this game.
They need an outfielder.
They do. The Padres keep saying they're buying, but Mason Miller keeps increasing his value every time he pitches. Should AJ Preller even answer the phone for Mason Miller at this point?
Yeah, I mean, he should always answer the phone, right? You should always answer the phone for any player. And I just in the track record that AJ Preller has, I don't think there's anybody that's untouchable in the Padres, in the entire organization. I don't think there's one player, one prospect. I don't think there's any of those that are untouchable. Everybody's got a price. And I think that's the case for every team. I think everybody's got a price for players. So if somebody's going to call and give you their entire farm system for the guy, we would probably say yes, right? Wouldn't you not? I mean, everybody's got a price that would satisfy this. So, yeah, he's going to answer the phone. And I think he should answer the phone if somebody calls. I don't think they should trade him unless he fleeces somebody. But he should answer it. And you know he is.
All right, rapid fire because we only got about a minute left here. Who gets traded first, Skubal or Miller?
Skubal, because I don't think Miller gets traded.
Which contender is feeling the most pressure right now? The Yankees, Dodgers, Brewers, or Mariners?
That's a tough one. It's not the Dodgers. I'm going to tell you that right. You just cross them off the list. I'm kind of stuck between the Yankees and the Brewers for two different reasons. One, this is the best the Brewers have looked in a long time. They've looked really good. They've never been able to get over the hump of the Dodgers. They've never been able to get over the hump to make the World Series. Therefore, they definitely have the most pressure in the National League. The Yankees, they have the pressure because they're supposed to be the Yankees, right? Like, I would imagine Brian Cashman's got a lot of pressure because he's got to fill like half a team. His team, despite having one of the best records in the American League, is not good. They're not good, especially without Aaron Judge. They're not good. But the American League is so bad that they're one of the best teams. I'm going to have to lean the Brewers probably. I mean, how many more years are you going to win and not have anything to show for? They've made, the playoffs 7 in the last 8 years, and they haven't been able to go over the hump? The Brewers, and they never make a big splash at the deadline, hardly ever. I'm putting the pressure on. I think the Brewers have the most pressure.
Rapid fire. Who's more likely to overpay, Yankees or Dodgers?
Yankees, for sure.
What's more valuable in today's game, an ace starter or an elite closer?
Ace starter.
Which deadline strategy wins championships? Buy aggressively, buy smart, or stay still?
Obviously, the one that is the smart thing. Buying smart. Buying aggressively, recklessly, buying smart, or standing pat. Probably the intelligent one. That's the one I would go with.
There you go.
I like that. That was good. We'll do that again tomorrow. When we come back, some interesting nuggets from AJ Preller from Kevin Acee that came out yesterday. We're going to talk about that. Some parameters, maybe, for the trade deadline for the Padres. Braden Surprenant Show, Static Summer Sports Station 97 through the Fan. NFL training camp officially here. Biggest story, not just football, but everything that's on the line going into training camp for these NFL teams. Defending champion Seattle Seahawks are trying to become the NFL's first repeat champion in over a decade, but they've lost some key players and coaches. Meanwhile, 5 teams are holding quarterback competitions, including Cleveland with Shedeur Sanders, Atlanta with Michael Penix Jr. and Tua Tagovailoa, Las Vegas with Kirk Cousins battling a first-round draft pick, rookie and Fernando Mendoza, adding new coaches, stars returning from injury like Patrick Mahomes and Nick Bosa, and veteran free agents still waiting for contracts. Training camp is loaded with storylines. Football is finally back, and the race to Week 1 officially begins. Frank, football is officially back. You got to see the training camps out there. Teams will be starting training camp throughout the week. I'm looking forward to finally seeing some NFL football. And last Sunday was the last Sunday without football for the remainder of the rest of the year. So should be good to have a lot of good football back. But, the biggest storylines entering camp, starting with Seattle as being a team that's trying to be the first team to repeat in a long time.
Yeah, it will not be easy for them. Seattle's lost their offensive coordinator, Clint Kubiak, along with several key contributors from last year's championship roster, including Kenneth Walker III, Rick Wolin, Bo Pelini, Alex Smith, Jameson Taillon, 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 and Kobe Bryant. Head coach Mike McDonald now has to prove that last season was not just a one-year success story. His new offensive coordinator, Brian Fleury, takes control over the offense. So Seattle, they have a very, very tall task ahead of them and a lot of new names and a lot of new places.
Yeah, and meanwhile, like just down the coast, the Rams, I mean, in that division, right? I mean, got to be able to make it through your division if you're thinking about repeating as a Super Bowl champion. The Rams entering camp with enormous expectations. I mean, they traded for Myles Garrett and Trent McDuffie. They added Jalen Watson. The Rams have assembled one of the most talented rosters and talented defenses to pair with an offense that features Matt Stafford, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, Blake Corum. Oh, and by the way, Aaron Donald could be coming back. I mean, Sean McVay mentioned he hasn't made his decision yet. Aaron Donald hasn't made his decision about maybe coming back out of retirement for one more Super Bowl run. But Aaron Donald comes back to this team. I mean, the Rams are not only the team to beat in the NFC West, they could be the team to beat in the NFC and even in the NFL.
Yeah, and Aaron Donald's held workouts there over the last couple of weeks, so he is very much getting into football shape and getting ready, seeing if he can handle another full season grind after being away these last couple of years. That would be a huge get for the Rams. Wonder how much of an impact he'll make, having been on the sidelines for these last few years. But still, I mean, a name like Aaron Donald coming back to that defensive line to pair with Myles Garrett, that is absolutely massive for the Rams.
Quarterback battles, fresh starts. Quarterback competitions will headline training camp around the league. In Atlanta, you got Michael Penix Jr. and Tua Tagovailoa battling for the Falcons' job. In Cleveland, all eyes remain on Shedeur Sanders as he competes with Deshaun Watson for the Browns' future under center. Raiders will determine whether veteran Kirk Cousins keeps rookie Fernando Mendoza on the bench, while the Vikings have an intriguing battle between Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy. Arizona also enters camp with Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew, and rookie Carson Beck, all competing for the Cardinals starting job. Elsewhere, there's a lot of several veterans begin fresh starts with new teams. But let's just talk about the quarterbacks for a second. These are major quarterback battles by a lot of, I would say, middle-of-the-road quarterbacks that are good enough to win you games in the postseason. I don't necessarily know a lot of these guys are Super Bowl caliber quarterbacks or franchise caliber quarterbacks, but you have competition in a lot of areas. Competition does, breed success, but there are a lot of tough battles in Atlanta, Cleveland, Las Vegas, Arizona, and even Minnesota. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that Kyler Murray is going to win that job.
No, I don't think so. And Michael Penix Jr., he's lined up as the quarterback of the future for the Atlanta Falcons, and then you bring in Tua Tagovailoa after what happened with him in Miami. I don't see how Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel really stay away from Deshaun Watson just based on take the job away from Deshaun Watson based off of Watson's contract and what Cleveland gave up for him. You're going to have to give Deshaun Watson a chance. So I think that would be the case there. I don't see a world where Fernando Mendoza wins the starting job over Kirk Cousins. I'm one of those guys where you keep guy on the bench for a year, get up to speed, sit under the learning tree for a year.
Especially with that team and the talent that they have. You're
Exactly.
going to get him killed in his first year. Let Kirk Cousins get killed. And then if you need to put him into action later in the season, you can. But as you mentioned, I think it's a lot. But most of the good quarterbacks in the NFL kind of waited around a little bit to kind of get their bearings and then set up for success. Let the Raiders draft another bad spot and then get some help for a guy like Mendoza. Arizona, broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios, we know how. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show, setting us on Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. All of our guests join us on the SDCCU Fan Hotline. It's not Big Bang Banking. It's better. Padres, Rockies, tonight at 6:40. Padres need a big week this week. Things are working out for them in terms of the overall standings. They picked up another game last night, if you will. The Padres, going into the All-Star break, were 500 and 3.5 games out of a wild card spot. They are now still 500 and 1.5 games out of a wild card spot. And they just played 500 ball. In terms of scores to pay attention to today, Guardians and Reds. The Reds are behind the Padres if they're still kind of hanging on. I don't really think so. They're down 4-0 to the Guardians right now, so there's positive there. And then other scores for you, or should I say games today to pay attention to. Diamondbacks and Pirates, Game 2. Diamondbacks lost yesterday. Regardless, whoever wins that game, they will have sole possession of the final wild card spot. The Padres, with a win today, cannot be anything better than 1.5 games behind one of those teams because they're currently tied. It will be Brandon Pfaadt against Bubba Chandler tonight in Pittsburgh. That game's obviously muy importante. Phillies and Marlins at 3:40 today. It will be Aaron Nola and Sandy Alcantara tonight. That's a big pitching matchup for the Phillies and the Marlins. That's a big game for the Padres yet again. More so on the fact that you kind of want the Marlins to win to try to climb up another spot on Philadelphia. But at that point, if you win tonight, you maybe could distance yourself from the Marlins if they lose, but that's another important game. Blue Jays and Nationals, you definitely want the Blue Jays to win. A Blue Jays win and a Padres win means the Padres pass the Nationals in the standings, and that also goes with Cubs and Cardinals. If the Cubs win and the Padres win, the Padres would pass the Cardinals, and at that point would only have 2 teams in front of them in the wild card spot. They'd have one of the Pirates. They would be the Pirates and the Diamondbacks, and then the Padres right behind them by a half game. Half game behind whoever loses, and 1.5 still from whoever wins that game. So that's how things play out tonight. Should be important. Let's talk about the Padres being creative at the trade deadline. Despite a lot of questions about the strength of the Padres farm system, the biggest asset for A.J. Preller, as mentioned in this article by Kevin Acee, is not the prospect depth, but it's the creativity. I mean, if you want to go look at how creative A.J. Preller has been, the Padres have traded a lot of prospects, and Preller consistently finds ways to complete impactful trades without giving up top 100 talent. I mean, the Padres are leaning towards buying. I think they probably end up buying, but they're also keeping contingency plans alive if this week goes poorly, which would be very disappointing for them against the Rockies and the Giants. So this could determine how aggressive the Padres get at the deadline, how aggressive A.J. Preller gets at the deadline. He's either going to make smaller moves, or maybe he'll pivot into a hybrid strategy, or maybe he gets aggressive and he holds on to a lot of these players at the big league level. But don't underestimate how creative A.J. Preller is. I mean, if you just look at the Miami series this last weekend, the Marlins featured 4 former Padres prospects that Preller had traded. Xavier Edwards, Estoy Ruiz, Graham Pauley, Jacob Marcy. Only Xavier Edwards was ever considered a top 100 prospect. Preller has repeatedly acquired major league contributors without surrendering elite prospects. He has surrendered elite prospects too, I know, before people start saying James Wood, C.J. Abrams, Leo DeVries, who we have no idea if he's going to be good at the big league level or not because he hasn't gotten there yet. He's already won like 3 MVPs to a lot of fans. But he consistently finds creative ways to structure deals, and whether every trade ultimately works is debatable. His ability to execute deals is not, which gives the Padres a little bit of a wild card going into Monday. They still appear to be buyers. Even before sweeping Miami, the organization was leaning towards buying anyway. I think, them sweeping the Marlins gives the Padres fan base a little bit more of a, oh, okay. But they moved within a game and a half of a playoff spot. Ownership values remaining competitive. 3 straight seasons, 3 million fans, creating definitely pressure to stay relevant, and they want to reach the postseason for the 3rd straight year. That would be a franchise first. How about that? If the Padres make the playoffs this year, Frank, it would be the first time ever in history they'd made the playoffs 3 years in a row. That's good enough for me to try to get into the postseason.
I would agree. 100% I would agree.
They're obviously, though, at the same time, not blind to reality. I mean, internally, the Padres also recognize something important, which is the roster isn't currently good enough to make a deep postseason run. Making the playoffs isn't enough. They need to become significantly better. That means additions, and the biggest needs remain obvious. They need a frontline starting pitcher or 2 or 3 or 4. They need a brand new rotation. This is priority number 1. They also hope one or both return of Nick Pivetta and Joe Musgrove, and if healthy by late August, those returns could function like major deadline acquisitions. But it's kind of like relying on a prayer. Now, the bullpen is not an emergency because Jason Adams is expected back, Jeremiah Estrada is expected back, David Morgan is expected back, and they still could use another leverage arm, right? They could use a left-handed outfielder, too. Even with Luis Rengifo helping offensively, the organization still believes adding another left-handed bat is nearly essential. We haven't talked too much about this yet, but when you look at Luis Rengifo, do we think he's the answer in left field right now? Do you think he can just survive with the way he is playing? I mean, he's playing closer to what he was in Anaheim more than what he was in Milwaukee, and yeah, he's been on fire right now, but how long can you ride the Luis Rengifo train without having a little bit of a safety net with acquiring another piece? I mean, Luis Rengifo coming off the bench and being a spot starter, I think would be huge for this team. Him relying on being an everyday starter right now after he got DFA'd from Milwaukee, I think it's a little risky for the Padres, and I really think they need a left-handed outfielder.
Yes, I would think an outfielder for sure. And me personally, like I said, I would love to see Mickey Moniak stay here. He's having a great season, local kid. Shouldn't cost you too ridiculously high of a cost. But I would love to. I think Mickey Moniak would be a very, very good fit here in the outfield.
I think so, too. I think it'd be nice. I mean, he is having a great year. He's hitting .277 this year, and we've already talked about
his power numbers have been off the charts compared to his career. So
yeah, I mean, last year he hit .270 with an .824 OPS. This year, .277 with an .875 OPS. He was the number 1 pick in the draft. Okay, so it's not like he didn't have talent to begin with coming out of La Costa Canyon. I think the Phillies gave up on him too early. The Angels, he had a good season with Anaheim when he was 25 in 2023. I mean, you look at Mickey Moniak, he's got a couple more years of control, and I would much rather have him than Samad Taylor or Jace Bowen. I mean, that's not even a question. But he's hit 16 home runs this year. He hit 14 in Anaheim, 24 in Colorado last year. He's got 16 this year. And before, I guess I could look at his splits on home and away for this season in Colorado just to see what it is, because a lot of people immediately roll their eyes oh, well, he's playing in Colorado. But I think that would be a decent add to this team that's probably not going to cost too much, if you will. So if you look at the home and away splits for Mickey Moniak, he's definitely hitting a lot better at home. So maybe there's something to that. What did he hit at Petco Park this season? If he hit well at Petco Park in a small sample size, I'm down. But those are the type of moves, though, Frank, that you can afford.
Yeah.
Those are some of the moves that you can afford. Here at Petco this year, he's hitting .231 with a .923 OPS. So maybe that's something that they could do. Be a decent move, I think, for the Pods. But when we come back, there's a lot that we just unpacked there that we need to continue to break down. I mean, I obviously agree with the frontline starting pitcher is a massive problem. I think you could potentially add bullpen arms that are a lot cheaper. It would be nice to get a bat. They could still. I mean, according to the article, they said that they could get an enormous return for Mason Miller, Michael King, and Adrian Morejon. But it depends on how important it is for you to make the playoffs. And I think that should be important for organizations. We'll discuss further when we come back. 11:40 on the fan. All of our guests join us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bang Banking. It's better. A lot of trade deadline conversations here in this hour. We're obviously going to be talking a lot about that in the next, 6 days? 6 days out? 32 days until college football. I was breaking that last night. I was breaking down the week 0 and week 1 with Nikki P last night after softball. I was getting the itch for college football. I was like, that could be a sneaky game. That's going to be a barn burner. That's a trap game week 1. I mean, Miami's going to Stanford the first weekend, week 1. So not the first week, the second weekend of college football. And week 1 on a Friday night, that's got Pac-12 After Dark written all over it. Absolutely. Trap game. Especially after Stanford blows a home game to Hawaii in game 1. That could be a problem. USC's got to play Fresno State in week 1 after they play San Jose State week 0. Hey, better watch out for the Bulldogs all the time. How about this matchup of trap games in week 1? You got Fresno State playing USC. You got Boise State playing out of Oregon. Better watch out. Those are some sneaky matchups. Sneaky matchups. You got the Apple Cup week 1. You got the Apple Cup on Sunday of Labor Day weekend. A little early for that, right? A little early for apples, isn't it? Games we played at UW. Interesting game. San Diego State, of course, will open up with Portland State in week 1. Week 0 games are pretty good. I don't know if you saw the week 0 games for college football, Frank.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Starts off with my alma mater having to go to Ireland because, God forbid we have any of these games at home anymore. Why would we? As a season ticket holder, it'd be nice to have North Carolina come to TCU, but no, we want to play them on a neutral site in a different country. I digress on that. Here's your week 0 games to get excited for on Saturday, August 29th. North Carolina, TCU in Ireland, 9 a.m. on ESPN. San Jose State at USC, noon on NBC. NC State at Virginia. Oh, that's a sneaky week 0 matchup.
Not a bad game.
12:30 on ESPN. Jacksonville State at North Dakota State, now a member of the Mountain West Conference, North Dakota State. 2:30 CBS Sports Network.
North Dakota State and Sacramento State both play in week 0. Welcome to the FBS.
That's the next game I was going to get to. Sac State at Eastern Michigan at 3:30 on ESPN+.
Play on the great
Welcome
turf.
to the FBS. Here is your first trip in the MAC. Week 0. Have fun flying to this part of the country every single week. Hawaii at Stanford, 4 o'clock, ACC Network. New Mexico State, Florida State, 4 o'clock on ESPN Unlimited and the CW Network. And the nightcap, Memphis at UNLV, 7 o'clock on Fox. Remember, you got the Coke Zero, was it the Coke Zero 400?
Mm-hmm.
You got the Coke Zero 400 on Saturday, August 29th. What a fun day for Frankie Left Turns, huh?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And then, of course, you got the week 1 games. Are you kidding me? Thursday through Monday of just college football. I mean, your first college football game of that weekend is UMass at Rutgers. 3 o'clock at the Big Ten Network. Not bad. Colorado, Georgia Tech. Sneaky Thursday night game at 5 o'clock on ESPN that week. You have Bernie Wilson's Idaho Vandals going to Utah on a Friday night. UAB, Illinois. What a random matchup on a Friday night in September. Eastern Michigan just really wants to play California schools because they got San Jose State on Friday the next week. UTEP, Oklahoma. Could be a little scary there. Pick them. The UTEP Miners are now in the Mountain West. Never know. Fresno State at USC is a Friday night game. Didn't realize that. Got some good games mixed in there. Baylor, Auburn on the first Saturday.
Western Kentucky, Nevada.
You already lost that game.
I did, yeah.
You're going to get fired from being a West Kentucky head coach going to 0-4.
Again, 2 of those losses are against number 3 Georgia and number 4 Indiana, so cut me a little bit of a break.
You lost to Delaware and Nevada.
I did. I know.
You can't overcome those. UCLA at Cal, West Kentucky at Nevada is the 7:30 game on CBS Sports Network the opening weekend.
Winning streak starts here, though.
Washington State, the Apple Cup Sunday is going to be good. Washington State, Washington, Louisville, Ole Miss, and Wisconsin, Notre Dame. And then the Monday night game, since there's no NFL yet, is SMU and Florida State. I'm in. I'm dialed. I'm ready to go. Speaking of other sports, because we're going to go back to our conversation about AJ Preller at the trade deadline, let's get to today's sports thread.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me.
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk.
All right, Frank, what we got going on today in the sports world?
Oh, a number of things that we actually didn't get to yesterday.
Number 1.
Two-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle Vita Vea has requested a trade from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Sure.
Gesundheit.
Thank you. Has requested a trade from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after contract extension negotiations stalled. The 31-year-old is entering his final season of his 4-year, $71 million contract and is set to make $17 million this season, but none of that salary is guaranteed. Vea was on hold, was a hold-in during mandatory training camp because of contract dispute, and now his future with the franchise is uncertain as training camp begins. The move also comes while quarterback Baker Mayfield is seeking a new contract, making it a pivotal offseason for Tampa Bay's front office. Losing Vea would create a massive hole in the middle of the defense, middle of a defense that is he's anchored for the past 8 seasons. If you are the Bucs, do you give Vita Vea the extension he wants, or is now the right time to trade him before he reaches free agency?
It's probably time. You could probably move on from Vita Vea. Why have the headache, right? Move on. He wants. What do he wants to go to a West Coast team or something? I know a lot of Charger fans are licking their chops. They're going to get Vita Vea, so it's probably time to part ways at that point. I mean, these conversations like this never really end in like a brand new contract for that team.
No, they rarely do.
Number 2.
Which is funny why people continue to do it. Outgoing Michigan athletic director Ward Manuel received a $7.14 million lump sum payment as part of his separation agreement after announcing he will step down at the end of 2026. The deal comes after an investigation into former football coach Sharon Moore's relationship with an executive assistant and a broader probe into the athletic department. In addition to the payout, Manuel will receive retirement contributions, reimbursement for attorney's fees, and lifetime perks such as game tickets and golf privileges. The agreement also prevents him from taking an athletic director or senior athletic advisor role with another Big Ten school for 2 years, though he is free to work elsewhere. Is Michigan making the right move by moving forward from Ward Manuel, or is the $7.14 million buyout too high given the circumstances surrounding the departure?
Why are they paying him at all? With everything that went around at Michigan, multiple sports. It's great for him. Wow, how many? He got golf privileges and $7 million. What the?
Yeah, the golf privileges I think was more prevalent than the $7 million. He's got game tickets for life.
Game tickets to Michigan games for life? Mm-hmm. Like just football or all sports?
I'm not sure. Just said game tickets.
What a buyout. That's amazing. That guy got a better deal than people that signed to be the athletic director.
Stupid school. It's unbelievable.
Let's smash the numbers and Jake Waters think about this. I just think that's kind of dumb. Why would you give him that kind of money? What if Fleece Job is right? Whoever that guy's agent is, we need his agent.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
And his attorney's fees waived as well. That's just
fleeced.
It's ridiculous for a guy who's accused of what he's accused of, which is why he's stepping down in the first place. Yeah, no, that's absurd.
Number 3.
Not really.
That's like trading Griffin Canning for Shohei Ohtani right now. Just straight up.
Yeah, no kidding. Remember we talked about Ryan Lesko about a year or so, about a month or two ago, the A's prospect.
I heard the update, which is
great. Athletics prospect Ryan Lesko is showing encouraging signs of recovering just 4 weeks after suffering a devastating neck injury in a collision with a teammate during a Double-A game. Lasco underwent surgery to repair fractures in his C6 and C7 vertebrae and revealed on social media that he is regaining sensation from his feet to his knees, is experiencing movement in his legs, and has regained significant use of both hands. The 24-year-old said he is very happy with his progress and credited the outpouring of support from fans, teammates, and the baseball community for helping him stay motivated during rehabilitation. While his baseball future remains uncertain, Lasco's recovery has already exceeded many early expectations and serves as an inspiring reminder of how quickly life can change on the field. So a fantastic, fantastic story coming out from Ryan Lasco.
He's not out of the woods yet, but hopefully he continues to get more feeling in his body and be able to walk again and do all those things. And, you pray for the best recovery possible. But that's a lot better news than what was initially thought was going to happen. So great news in that front. And hopefully he continues his recovery back to just being able to do normal things.
100%.
Number 4.
Colts quarterback Daniel Jones is ready to return to the field after being fully cleared from his Achilles injury that ended his breakout 2025 season. Jones says he expects to participate in full team drills when Indianapolis begins training camp, giving the franchise confidence that its quarterback can build off a season where he posted career best numbers and helped the Colts to an 8-2 start after earning a massive contract extension. Jones enters 2026 with high expectations as Indianapolis looks to prove last season's success was the beginning of a new era. Is Daniel Jones capable of becoming the long-term franchise quarterback the Colts have been searching for, or does he still need to prove last season was more than just a breakout year?
I think he's got to prove something. I mean, Daniel Jones in New York was awful. I mean, he was so bad. I just his mechanics were not great. His decision making was not great. It was very much a bust. He got off to such a great start in Indianapolis. I mean, the injury could have saved him in a sense of they think he's really good. How many weeks did he play before he got hurt? It was
10.
10 weeks. I mean, he could go on a 10-week heater. And the Colts had a good defense last year, right? So I got to see more from Daniel Jones. I really do. I got to see more from Daniel Jones. I don't think you can win in the postseason with Daniel Jones. I don't. I'm not a believer in Daniel Jones. So I have to see a little bit more. And maybe he does. Good for him if he does. But I don't think he could be the franchise quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts. I think they slapped a Band-Aid on this problem that they had after they drafted Anthony Richardson, who's been terrible.
I have never seen an organization's fan base get so sarcastically behind one of its own players. That Danny Dimes nickname, that's a sarcastic nickname.
Oh, yeah.
That's not because he was good. It was full-on sarcasm, the entirety of the support for him.
Number 5.
These are our Colts. This is our team.
Why would you do that? Because now I have to do the thing.
This is our Colts. This is our team. We bleed blue.
It's your fault right there. Big congratulations to Dexter in Spring Valley, by the way. This news just broke about a half hour ago. Draymond Green has agreed to return to the Golden State Warriors on a 1-year, $27.7 million deal.
Oh, man.
According to Clutch Sports CEO Rich Paul, Green turned down his $27.6 million player option earlier this summer in a surprising move shortly before free agency kicked off. The decision creates more financial flexibility for Golden State, which was among the teams looking to land LeBron James. He declined the player option to make room for LeBron, and now that LeBron has gone to Philadelphia, Dexter goes back home with a $100,000 raise.
Good for Dexter.
Congratulations, bud.
Probably had a great time at Comic-Con this weekend. Gets to sign a big contract.
Congratulations, bud.
Noon lunchtime hour, we're going to talk more about the trade deadline with the Padres and some different angles with A.J. Preller and dive into other needs for other teams in the next hour. Braden Surprenant Show, Standing Summer Sports Station 97 The Fan.
San Diego, turn it up. From the dugout to the sidelines, from the front office to the fan in the stands, this is where San Diego sports comes to be heard.
College athletics is the gift that keeps on giving. This is why I love this stuff.
He's not just talking about the game, he's driving the conversation, breaking it down, calling it out, and saying what everyone else won't.
They start licking their chops, man, when they hear like, oh, look at all these guys the Padres could potentially trade.
This is the voice San Diego sports trusts on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
We're your favorite show's favorite show.
This is the Braden Surprenant Show.
Think about the children. The family show.
Now, here's Braden Surprenant.
Oh, what's up, San Diego? New lunchtime hour on The Fan, and our baseball coverage on 97 through The Fan is presented by Xfinity. Score the most reliable Wi-Fi. One price, 5 years guaranteed. Xfinity. Imagine that. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We went through what Kevin Acee put out yesterday about this situation with the Padres and them getting creative, and A.J. Preller having to be creative, and A.J. Preller being the guy that has been extremely creative. And we're going to talk about that again here in a second. I do want to get to your phone calls, though. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Derek in La Mesa. Derek, what's going on?
What's up, man? Glorious 80-degree day at noon in La Mesa. And, you know, Braden, I was thinking Frank's probably sad because he and I don't have an opportunity to talk, because we all know that his favorite baseball player, Arson Fudge, is on the IL for a while, and we don't get a chance to talk. And Oregon Duck football hasn't started yet. So I'm thinking, man, how do I connect with my buddy Frank? Because I know he loves talking to me so much. And then it just came to me, this epiphany, Braden.
Wow.
Well, of course, it's going to be the United States' darling Erling Haaland playing for my beloved Norway pops into my brain, and I say, well, there's the answer. So, Frank, let me ask you a question, brother. Who's your favorite Premier League team?
Chelsea.
Oh, that is unfortunate, because
I know
now my favorite English Premier League team,
Man City,
is now Man City. So when that starts up, Frank, we'll be having more discussions, and I love it. I can't wait for it. And by the way, I tried to call in, or I didn't have time to call in yesterday, but I wanted to let you guys know. I went to my first SDFC match on Saturday against Dallas, and let me tell you, San Diego soccer fans, okay, I'm a big college football homer, but let me tell you, when I got onto the trolley at Hazard Center to ride in, I was shocked. Standing room only. I went to Snapdragon, which is fantastic. I've only seen one football game there because San Diego State kind of plays football-ish. But I was absolutely shocked at the number of people that were at that game. What a freaking fantastic environment. We were in section 321, which is kind of up, but basically right at midfield. Amazing, best seats in the house. I had a great time. Frank, go Man City, go Erling Haaland, and I'll talk at you brothers very soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Derek. Thanks for joining the show.
December 12th at the Etihad, and then April 24th back at Stamford Bridge.
I love the fact that he's just like anti your teams right now. Although Oregon and Penn State are not like a big one like that.
No.
But it's a good one. Appreciated that. Yeah, when he started doing the bit and it was great, and then Aaron Judge got hurt, and then it's no longer great. All right, so we talked about what the Padres needed.
Doing a bit surrounding Aaron Judge's health is never a good idea.
Nah, it's never really good, no. It's about as good as the Yankees are when they don't have Aaron Judge. That'd be bad. Surprised Derek didn't mention about that. I mean, I said two things today that I thought for sure Derek was going to talk about. He must have missed them. One was Oregon better watch out. Boise State always gives them a run. Trap game early. And the other one, the Yankees are not a very good team. And the fact that they have to replace almost their entire roster at the deadline, good luck. I think they're facing the second most pressure out of any team at the Major League Baseball deadline. Now, back to the deadline for the Padres. We saw this article from Kevin Acee yesterday, and we're getting into more details about it here in a second. But the biggest needs are obvious. Number one, you need a starting pitcher of any caliber. I'm going to be honest with you. Any caliber starting pitcher was going to help this team because they don't have anybody. Like, if they got 2 middle-of-the-road starting pitchers, it would make this team way better than it already is. Way better than it is because of the fact that the pitching staff, most notably the starting staff, has not been very good. The bullpen's not an emergency. Every team always adds bullpen arms at the deadline. Good teams do. I would imagine the Padres probably add a bullpen arm at the deadline in some capacity, and they need a left-handed outfielder. That's for the buying side. It still said in the article that the Padres are, if things go sideways, they have discussed moving major pieces. And, they talked about they can move Mason Miller, they can move Michael King, they can move Adrian Morejon, which would give them a massive haul back, as reported in this article. And they've also discussed softer moves involving like Walker Buehler or Ty France. So buying isn't guaranteed, but I mean, you could read this article as much as we want, Frank. And I know it's seeing both sides. I don't see a world where the Padres are not buying on Monday. I really don't see a world where they're doing that. And after talking with some other people, like I honestly thought they might part ways with some of their guys and maybe do a little buy or sell. I don't think they're going to do that. I think it's going to be I don't think they're going to really pull from their major league roster. I think they're going to get creative with what they can do. Now, a couple of things that were in that article that were also interesting. Money remains a mystery. The other unknown is the ownership hasn't yet established payroll flexibility because the front office doesn't know right now going into Monday how much salary they'll be allowed to absorb. I think a lot of people are assuming that the new ownership group was going to allow them to take on more salary, but they don't know. I mean, obviously they're having conversations with both the current owners and the new ownership group. But the front office does not know how much money they'll be allowed to absorb. They don't know if they'll have to offset contracts, and they don't know whether ownership will approve bigger financial commitments. And historically, owners get more involved during the deadline week. But in the article, Kevin Acee was making it sound like they're going to stick to 2024 and 2025 kind of level of thinking of they're not really going to add too much payroll at the deadline, which I find interesting because all of the other reports leading up to this was the fact that the Padres may be more inclined to take on a contract in order to make a trade. So I bet you we get more clarity on that in the next couple of days. I would imagine both ownership groups are involved right now with the front office about what they want to do at the deadline, what the front office is allowed to do, how much payroll they could take on. But that was an interesting nugget in the article yesterday about the Padres. I don't really think the Padres are in a position where they're going to be able to add without giving up something or taking on payroll. So as this lays out, it's starting to look at like there's not one player untouchable on this list of players, whether prospects or players at the major league level. Because they have to find some type of value if they want to add at the deadline. And they put another nugget in there. Kevin Acee did about Ethan Salas, and the Padres' top prospect isn't considered untouchable. That doesn't mean they'll trade him. It means they'll listen. I think that's a little significant, but I think they'll listen on anybody. I don't think anybody has ever been untouchable in this organization. Not one. I would be surprised. If the Padres trade away Ethan Salas for the team that they currently have. I would be surprised. Like, to me, if you trade Ethan Salas this year, and again, I know he's a prospect. I know you're not going to know how good he is until he gets to the big leagues. I mean, he could be a massive bust, and you got out of it as early as possible. He could be Jared Kelenic, for all we know. But that usually goes for one piece. And this team, Frank, is not one piece away from being a title contender.
No, they're not. And we know AJ Preller's background, and you know that even though trading Ethan Salas or Cash Mayfield or Cruz Schoolcraft is not I don't want to say it's not the smartest thing to do because, I mean, there's a time and place for everything. But you know that those guys are not safe. I agree with you in the fact that those are guys that you move when you're a hell of a lot closer than you are to winning a title. You need a full starting rotation at this point. You need everyone in the starting rotation. Bullpen help, of course, everybody needs that. You've got a long-term question at first base. You have a long-term question in left field. There are issues and there are things there are holes that the Padres are not going to be able to fill during this trade deadline to help make them put them in a better position to win a World Series. A lot of the issues the Padres have right now are off-season fixes. So therefore, you would almost consider Salas, Mayfield, and Schoolcraft off the table because those are your all-in years. Those are your all-in trade pieces. This is not an all-in type of season, though.
I don't think so either. And I honestly think, Joel Sherman talked about this, but the report from Jeff Passan today about the Padres are telling other teams, if you want to discuss Mason Miller, there's not one player in your organization that is off limits. And honestly, if that's the case, that really shows to me how not for sale he really is. Because I don't know how many teams are willing to part ways with their number one prospect for a closer. The only one that was is AJ Preller. He was willing to pull the trigger. He is basically putting Miller up for grabs to anybody that wants to be as bold as him. And I don't think there is one. I honestly don't think there is, aside from maybe Friedman with the Dodgers. I think Friedman would do it because they can buy their way out of problems. But I don't think the Padres would trade with the Dodgers. So that eliminates a team that could probably make it work. The Yankees don't have enough for Mason Miller. They don't have anywhere close to enough for Mason Miller, especially if they don't want to get rid of George Lombard Jr. I mean, they're not going to be able to fill out their entire roster while hanging on to George Lombard Jr. with everything that they need. Milwaukee has yet to pull the trigger on a big move at the deadline in the last handful of years. They've always been a little bit afraid and hanging on to prospects. We haven't seen the Rays really get super aggressive at the trade deadline. I mean, you're starting to cross teams off the list that might be able to afford a guy like Mason Miller on the sales side of things. And, Joel Sherman mentioned this today and quoting that Jeff Passan tweet, he doesn't think, and I just sent it to you, so maybe we can get it in the next, or if you find it, then that's great.
That's ready.
But he doesn't make it, he makes it sound like he doesn't think Morejon nor Miller get traded. Here's Joel Sherman on MLB Network.
Is there an opportunity for the Yanks to get Mason Miller? And if so, could you attach a Manny Machado to it?
Yeah, I don't think the Yankees are going to take on.
Pause.
Bro.
Brother, what? I guess they need a shortstop? What? Dude, what? Come on. Replay that again.
The bit
I was not expecting that at all.
Neither was I. The bit here is Joel Sherman is taking questions as if he's in a press conference. So that was Mark DeRosa.
Is DeRosa trying to impersonate a dumb reporter? Please tell me he's trolling everybody with that. That can't be a legit question he just asked.
Bro.
Replay that again. Did I hear that correctly?
Is there an opportunity for the Yanks to get Mason Miller? And if so, could you attach a Manny Machado to it?
Pause again.
Yeah, I don't think
Pause again. Foul. That's a tech.
Foul. No, 2 fouls.
Give me a break. Jeez, man. Could you imagine with the Yankees? Could you imagine? I mean, is Machado waiving the no trade to go to the Yankees for the rest? Come on.
By the way, the quote taken out of this clip is, "I think the price would be too staggering for either Mason Miller or Adrian Morejon. I think he ends up keeping both." In no way, shape, or form did Manny Machado come up in that quote. I got whiplash from that.
All right, let's try it again. I got to lock back in here.
Start with the answer. We'll start just straight from the answer.
I got to hear one more
Machado
time.
to it.
Oh, okay.
Is there an opportunity for the Yanks to get Mason Miller? And if so, could you attach a Manny Machado to it?
Yeah, I don't think the Yankees are going to take on Machado or Bogarts just to get this done, because we're talking about two of the most underwater contracts in the sport for a long time when we don't know, is there going to be a salary cap? And then you have to have these guys on your books and try to figure out how to navigate that. I wonder, what if they attach Jake Cronenworth, who's got $12 million a year through 2030? Does that lower the price on Miller? I don't think. Here's two things. If A.J. Preller trades Miller, I don't think he's going to do anything to lower the price. I think he's going to maximize it as much as he can. And I don't think he's going to trade Mason Miller. I think he thinks the strength of the team, that team isn't very good. When it wins because Morahone and Miller at the end, and all the games they can win, they do win. So I think the price would be staggering for either of them, even though Morahone's a free agent at the end of the year. And I think he ends up keeping both of them.
I wouldn't be surprised if he kept both. A couple of those things. I have a follow-up question about this, okay? Because we've already talked about the fact that, like, you know, the going rate for any type of shortstop that produces the WAR that Bogarts does is around the amount of money that he's making. He's not doing it offensively. He's obviously doing it defensively. I'm sure you could find cheaper options, too. I mean, you could play Sungmin Song there. I mean, he's going to be worse than Bogarts offensively, probably slightly better defensively. But, like, the $25 million a year is not, like, crazy at this point for his contract. The Manny contract is definitely going to be one that hurts a little bit more, I would say, for the Padres. But let's go back to the salary cap thing. Is that going to be a grandfathered in conversation? Does anybody know that? I don't know. But by the way, you're talking about contracts and staying underneath a salary cap, and you're talking about the Padres staying underneath the salary cap? I mean, what about all these other teams? What are they going to do? Like, what are the Dodgers going to do? Even with the deferred money, they're still, like, way over the salary cap. Are they going to keep these guys? Like, all of these guys? I mean, they have a lot of players under contract for a long time that they're spending money on. What are the Mets going to do? What are the, you know, like, the Padres are the team that can't handle, like, having the multiple contracts on their team, but, like, everybody else can? Well, they have young, controllable prospects. I mean, some of them do, not everybody. I mean, the going rate for these players right now is ridiculously high anyway. I mean, like, the way Jake Cronenworth has been playing, now, it would be nice to get out of all those extra years. I mean, he's probably worth $12 million on the open market a year, the way he's playing right now. But the more the closer we get to deadline day and the more the Padres win, the less a lot of these East Coast media members think the Padres are going to end up trading away anybody. And they'll probably in the buying mode. The Manny Machado thing threw me off. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that at all. Like, whoa. That's a question.
Who's the other guy in the clip? It's DeRosa, Sherman, and who's the talking head for...
Brian Kenny?
No, not him. It wasn't Kenny. It wasn't Amsinger. It's
the morning show guy?
I think so.
Florio?
Yeah, I guess Florio.
Or no, it's Roflo. Roflo.
Okay, yeah. So it was just those three in a room, and they put, like, chatter sound effects behind it.
To do the bit of the...
No, I understand that, but it's like, you're on television, bro. We can see you. We can see what's going on here.
Everybody can hear you. Oh, look, Paul Rudy's in the house.
It's like, my
What's he doing here? Anyway, we got to take a break. When we come back, let's get to our let's get back to our other topic that we're going to do this hour in terms of the trade deadline. I mean, the trade rumor season's great. It's so funny to me. But trade deadline ambitions for every team. The Athletic put this out. We'll let you know what they say about the Padres and their competitors in the National League when we return. Another fun week of motorsports. Alex Bowman announced he'll retire from full-time NASCAR competition after the 2027 season, saying injuries, family, and life beyond racing influenced his decision. Meanwhile, Corey Heim makes keeps making history, winning the Brickyard 400 to earn his second Cup Series victory despite only a part-time driver, being a part-time driver. Joey Logano says NASCAR will be battling Heim for years to come, and it's hard to disagree. In Formula One, Lando Norris picked up a huge victory at Hungarian Grand Prix, while championship leader Kimi Antonelli extended his points lead heading into the summer break. One generation is becoming a step away, while another is already taking over. Let's start in NASCAR. Alex Bowman announced retirement plans, while Corey Heim keeps rewriting NASCAR history. This week was featured major headlines both on and off the track, starting with Alex Bowman, who announced he'll retire from full-time NASCAR Cup Series competition after the 2027 season, citing health concerns, family priorities, and a desire to step away while he is still in his prime. Meanwhile, Corey Heim continued his remarkable rise by winning the prestigious Brickyard 400, becoming one of the sport's brightest young stars. Formula One also wrapped up the first half of the season with Lando Norris claiming a victory in Hungary. So let's start with the NASCAR Cup Series. Alex Bowman is going to retire.
Yeah, Alex Bowman's going to be retiring after next season, not this season. There was one of their biggest off-track stories that came out this week, a week on Thursday, when Hendrick Motorsports announced that Bowman will return for one final full-time season before retiring. Bowman said his decision is not performance-related. It is instead years of injuries, including multiple concussions. He had to sit out, I believe it was most of last year, because of concussions. He's broken his back. A frightening vertigo episode earlier this season, which also kept him out of the car, have convinced him that it's time to prioritize his long-term health. The 33-year-old also wants to focus on starting a family with fiancée Chloe Henderson, and admitted the emotional toll of racing every weekend has become difficult to manage. This departure leaves one of NASCAR's premier rides open, with Trackhouse prospect Connor Zilisch already viewed as the leading candidate to fill his place in the number 48 car, which also got some news this weekend as Jimmy Johnson plans his final race to be next year's Daytona 500. Hendrick Motorsports is going to allow him to use that number 48 that Alex Bowman currently uses. So what does Bowman do now?
Another car up there. I'm sure Hendrick can go get another number somewhere.
I believe they still own number 25. I believe, unless they just do a straight up number swap, 48 for 84 for a week. I'm not sure, but that's a February 2027 problem right now.
Yeah, Hendrick Motorsports is see how many numbers that they own. They might have some. I would imagine they probably have some alternates. Maybe
I think that it's not necessarily like that. You really only own the numbers that you run. Again, I think 25 has been an alternate of theirs for years. That drivers like Brad Keselowski's driven the number 25 when he first started. So I'm not sure which numbers they do own. They used to own 88. That's Trackhouse now. They started building their brand with number 17. That's Roush now. So I'm not sure which numbers they have licensing for that aren't the numbers that they already have.
Yeah, they have it on here. So I guess the likely alternate, according to the reports, is they are going to give Bowman the 25. So Bowman in that race will race the 25. It's historically been one of their numbers.
Yes.
But they don't have any alternates because NASCAR does not allow any alternates. You only get 4 full-time cars. But that's going to be interesting to see next spring, obviously, for Jimmy Johnson. I think for a lot of us here in San Diego that like the ties to Jimmy. And him being back in the 48 is going to be special.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's going to be at Daytona doing that will be very remarkable. But let's talk about the current chase. Corey Heim gets another victory, captures the Brickyard 400, continues to make history. The 2311 Racing driver captured the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, earning his second Cup Series victory of the season, despite running only a part-time schedule. Heim used a perfectly timed restart to take the lead from co-owner Danny Hamlin, who was just over 30 laps remaining and never looked back. Logano praised Heim afterwards, saying NASCAR will be racing against him for years to come. Pretty remarkable season he is having, even though he's on a part-time schedule.
Yeah, part-time schedule, Cup Truck Series champion last year. he's gotten 2 race wins in a very, very short amount of time. And they're 2 very, very big race wins as well. The Brickyard 400 is a crown jewel staple race for NASCAR, and also here in San Diego to get his first career win in a never done before fashion and style race. I mean, he has won 2 of the biggest races that you could imagine here so far already this in his young career. So he is a guy, he's a kid.
12:25 on a Tuesday. We're going to talk NFL at 1 o'clock, get you a training camp update. Training camp is underway for a lot of teams. We're going to do that at 1 o'clock during this next month or so, keep you updated what's going on in the National Football League. The closer we get to college football, and when I mean that, I mean getting to August, we'll start getting you some college football reports as well. Football is here, ready to go. We have 2 Little League games today that are important in the SoCal championships or SoCal Little League Southern California State Baseball Tournament is what it's called. That is tonight at 6:30. We have 2 of our teams playing tonight. They're not playing each other. Scripps Ranch is playing Glendora American at 6:30 tonight up at Woodfield Park in Aliso Viejo, California. And Encino is playing Sweetwater Valley. So Sweetwater Valley and Scripps Ranch, 2 of the teams trying to win the Southern California State Tournament. If they win this tournament, one of them, they would represent Southern California in the West Regional. Sweetwater Valley and Encino would play same field, Woodfield Park in Aliso Viejo, California. They're going to play on Field 6 at 6:30. Scripps Ranch and Glendora American will play on Field 4, also at 6:30. The winners of those games will be in the final 2 of the winners bracket, which is great, and that puts them in a good position on Thursday, perhaps against each other if they both win. So if Scripps Ranch and Sweetwater Valley both win, they will play Thursday. If they both lose, they will play Wednesday and have to battle their way Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So this is obviously, again, the more games you can win in the winner's bracket with the way pitching and pitch counts work for Little League, the better it is. So to get a victory and then not have to play until Thursday would be great. And then if they win that Thursday game, they wouldn't have to play until Saturday. I mean, that's obviously the best path to success of getting out of this bracket. Again, Scripps Ranch has won 2 of their games. They beat Eastvale 5-1 and Ladera Ranch 8-5. Sweetwater Valley has also won 2 games. They beat Golden Hill 2-0 and Goleta Valley 6-0. So Sweetwater Valley is the only team in this bracket that has not allowed a run yet. So good for our Little League teams. Hopefully they do the best that they can tonight. I'll be tuning in on the Game Changer app a couple of times. I know Scripps Ranch has it where you can follow along on their Game Changer app. It's kind of like watching like the updates on like ESPN.com, if you will. So if you want to do that, you could be able to do that, whatever. Apparently, Sweetwater Valley has a player who is actually the nephew of Alejandro Kirk for the Blue Jays. So that's a good team right there. Sweetwater Valley. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. Hopefully both teams win and advance. All right, let's get to this conversation about trade deadline ambitions for each team. And I want to kind of focus more on the National League West per se, but we want to get into we kind of talked about this a little bit, Frank, on our updates, but you have a couple of tiers here that are being broken down for the trade deadline. Padres are in the tier 4, which is this really worth it? And how the tiers break down, there's the World Series or bust tier, there's the contending sustainably tier, there's the can we make it to October tier, and then there's the is this really worth it tier with we know we're a year early. And let's get to the off. There's, I guess, a lot more tiers than I thought. Let's get to the off season. How much do we have to change? I mean, there's 7 tiers of like where you would go trade deadline wise. Let's start with tier 7 and work our way up. How much do we have to change? Giants, Mets, Royals, Angels. Let's not spend too much time on this. I mean, the Angels have a lot of problems that they can't fix at the deadline. The Mets, I don't know where the Mets go from here. I think you could probably answer this a little bit better than me. The Giants are a disaster. I feel like the Giants have to completely restart their entire team. But these teams, they could probably add some prospects back, but this is not going to be a time where they're going to be able to fix a lot of their problems at the deadline.
No, it's not. As far as the Mets plans, this isn't tied down. Gone. We can get rid of that. This isn't gone. This gone, that gone. Just anything that's not tied down, just get rid of it. It's not worth it.
How about that?
That includes the general manager.
But they still have they have Soto that they get to build around.
Well, he's tied down.
He's tied down big time. I go back to what Joel Sherman said about the Padres. Well, it's going to be a salary cap. Can they afford these guys? How can any other team that's over the salary cap afford the players that they have? At that point, it's like you're playing with a salary cap.
Because the Padres are still losing 100 games every single season, dude. Come
That's
on.
right. They got to trade these players away to the other teams that have the deal. Are you surprised how bad the Giants have been?
Yes and no. I was concerned about their pitching going into the season. I thought their hitting would be a lot better than it is, but those contracts are starting to really look like just dead weight for them right now, and it's every single person in the infield. It's not just one or two here or there. It's everyone in the infield.
Devers, it's Chapman, it's
Adames.
I guess they want to keep Jung-Hoo Lee. He's in the outfield. Arise looks like a good sign, but you gave him a 1-year deal thinking you were going to get after it. I thought they were going to be a lot better than they are, but they are failing miserably in San Francisco, and they need to try to reset. But the problem is, it's like, how do you get rid of all these big contracts? They're in more of a big contract problem than the Padres are.
Yeah, and in Anaheim, you're stuck with a lame duck manager, not because Kurt Suzuki's been bad, but just that's the way they
gave him a 1-year deal.
Yeah, that's the way they set it up.
I still think Mike Trout should demand a trade. I still think that's the case. All right, Tier 6, let's get to the offseason. A's, Rockies, and Reds. The Reds came back in the game today.
Yeah, they're tied 5-5 now.
It's amazing how they've fallen off since they made the play. People thought the Reds were going to be back to being pretty good because of all the young prospects they kept, but they've been okay.
Yeah, it's 5-5 in the 6th right now.
Oh, what a battle in Game 1. I don't think these teams will overhaul their rosters. They got young core players that they can deal with. I think they're just going to trade at the margins in terms of sell, get to the offseason and see what they can do. I think the Rockies have gotten better since previous years.
They definitely have.
They've gotten a lot better. The A's are in. If it wasn't for all the injuries, the A's would probably be doing a lot better than they actually are. And I don't think they have a lot to just part ways with. They got a good young core. And then the Reds, again, they got good young controllable pitching. A couple of adds here or there at the in the offseason. They should be okay. Tier 5. We know we're a year early. White Sox, Marlins, Nationals, Cardinals. Who's the most likely? Well, I think I know the answer. It's pretty easy. Who should go after a playoff spot out of those 4?
Chicago.
It's a no-brainer. Miami, I think Miami would have been a tough choice in there too, because they had some pitching to do it, and you only have a year left of Sandy after this. You have a year and a half left of Sandy Alcantara. So, for the Marlins, maybe. But they lost 12 straight games. It kind of put them in a category of we shouldn't compete. The Nationals have zero pitching for them to blow up what they have tried to accumulate with players. But even then, they're looking to shop C.J. Abrams. So, they're listening, I should say. They're not willingly trying to get rid of them, but they're listing on offers. And the Cardinals, the Cardinals could have, but at the beginning of the year, I said, I don't think this team's going to survive, and they're showing that they can. They're really falling back down to earth, and they don't have a lot of big contracts anyway. If anybody wants Dustin May, if I'm the Cardinals, I'm taking him up on that offer.
100%.
Is it really worth it? This is the tier that has the Padres in it, and we'll discuss what this tier means when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. 12:40. If we could get a contestant, we'll do it. I was a little late on that. But if you could take me down in some sports trivia, you'd be qualified for a chance to win at our grand prize, a 2-night stay at Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, and $150 food and beverage credit. Oasis Pool Deck at Fontainebleau, Las Vegas has officially opened for the season, offering a 6-acre elevated pool experience with 6 distinct pools and Live Beach, 54 Beach. Enter to win a 2-night stay at Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, and $150 food and beverage credit. To book your stay, visit FontainebleauLasVegas.com now. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. We'll be giving away tickets to a concert in town in the next hour. Stay tuned for that. All right, let's get back to this conversation about the trade deadline and some ambitions for some of these teams. We talked about the different tiers, if you will. Tier 4, it's the is this really worth it tier. This tier has the Diamondbacks, it has the Pirates, it has the Rangers, the Padres, the Astros, the Orioles, the Twins, the Blue Jays, and the Tigers. These are the teams that are going to be constantly battling for the playoff shift of whether or not they should buy and try to go for a playoff opportunity or whether or not they should sell and get ready for next year. On this list, I think the Diamondbacks at this point, with some of the young players that they've had and being in the World Series not too long ago, probably want to try to make the playoffs again this year to show that they still got a team that can do it. I think it's worth it to them. I think it's worth it to the Pirates to show that they are making progress, in their rebuild, in their, trading and drafting for good, young, controllable pitching, and the way that they kind of tried during the offseason. If they want to really show that they're trying and not just doing it to try to get a salary cap, potentially, the Pirates should probably buy. I mean, the Rangers and Astros are competing for a division title. They should probably go after it. I wouldn't be, I don't think they're in a position to sell. I think the Blue Jays are selling. I think the Tigers have to. I think they're at a point now you're going to have to trade Tarek Skubal. They're 6 games back in the Central, and they're 4 games back in the final wild card spot. They've been struggling in the second half. It's probably time to ship off Tarek Skubal. I think the Blue Jays definitely have to sell. I think the Twins are a little bit of a wild card, but they sold off so many pieces last year. Why change anything that you're doing? And then Baltimore's interesting because they had an opportunity a couple of years ago to go get after it and try to add to their team, and they didn't. I don't know why at this point they would do it with a team that's worse. And they're 2 games out. I just don't see it happening for Baltimore. So that's the is it really worth it tier in terms of a couple of teams in the middle. And I think it's about 50-50 on teams that should buy and teams that should sell. You got tier 3, which is can we make noise in October? Phillies, Cubs, Red Sox, Guardians, Mariners. I don't think the Mariners should be in that tier, to be honest with you. I know they got some young, controllable pitching. The Mariners have listed Emerson Hancock as being available at the deadline. They're looking for a bat. They're looking for bullpen help. I wonder if you can get an Emerson Hancock from the Mariners. If you got anything to give them. Give Ty France back to Seattle? They want him back? Can you afford to do that if you're still trying to compete? Does Emerson Hancock help you out? Emerson Hancock's a guy that is under control for a long time. He doesn't go into free agency until 2031. You would have a starting pitcher. He is already 27. You'd have him for your age 28, 29, 30, 31 season. Be interesting conversation to have. But I don't think the Mariners are in a position right now to be considering they can make noise in October. Their offense is terrible. The Red Sox might be playing with fool's gold a little bit because of the fact that they went on this long winning streak and they've won 18 in the last 20 games. Cleveland always seems to be able to hang around. They never really make that big move at the deadline. Cubs and Phillies can make noise if they redo one side of their game. The Phillies need offense and the Cubs need pitching in the worst way. Tier 2 is contending sustainably. Yankees, Brewers, Rays, Braves. These are teams that you don't want to see. They're not going to go to a point where they are redoing it like massive parts of their roster. But I think the most pressure out of that group is on the Brewers. They got to show that they can make it to the World Series for the first time. And then, of course, the World Series are boss of the Dodgers. I mean, that's just what they are. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. All right, sounds like we got a contestant. Let's get to the Midday Sports Standoff.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
No, it's no good. Are you kidding me?
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
All right, Frank, who we got playing today?
We have John in Temecula playing today. John, how you doing, bud?
Doing great, Frank. How you doing?
Good, good. All right, so
My
today...
mouth is burning just here listening.
Yes, it better be.
All right, so today is it's going to be another quick one, but we're going to be playing for points here as well. There are 5 different Padres that have hit a Major League best 19 home runs since the All-Star break.
The Padres have been 19 home runs since the
Yes,
All-Star.
a Major League best.
Wow.
Who are the 5?
5-5, dude.
Who are the 5 Padres who have hit those 19 home runs? You will get points per person who hits as however many home runs. John?
Okay, we'll start with Jackson Merrill.
Jackson Merrill has hit 5 home runs.
Wow.
So, John, you have 5 points.
I'm going to go with Machado. He seems like the other guys hit a lot.
Manny has hit 4. So,
Wow.
John, you have a 1-point lead.
Is that the top 2?
Nope.
Wow. No way.
Fernando Tatis Jr.
Doubled your score. John, you are now up 8-4.
He had 3?
Yes, he had 3.
The other one I would guess that has the most that's left would be Ty France.
Braden takes a 9-4 lead. Ty
He had
France
5
has hit
too?
5. There
Wow.
is 1 more left. Winner takes it.
Come on, John. You got this.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. It's my goodness. It's not Sheets, so it's got to be. I'm just gonna say Gavin Sheets.
Strike 1. By the way, the Padres have hit a home run in every single game since the All-Star break, except for Saturday night in Miami.
Good. Hopefully that continues.
Oh.
The last one is a new Padre. And I know because he hit him in Atlanta. And he did it again in Miami. Luis Rengifo. Luis Rengifo is the 5th Padre.
Yes, Luis Rengifo is the 5th Padre. So unfortunately, John, Braden wins both on picks correct and by points.
How many does Rengifo have? 3?
He has 2.
Oh, he has 2.
So Ty France and Jackson Merrill both have 5. Manny Machado has 4. Fernando has 3. Rengifo has 2.
Rengifo.
Fun to say.
Rengifo.
It's not as fun as Francisco, though. Francisco is more fun to say.
My girlfriend says that all the time. Every time Rengifo comes up, Rengifo. That's fun to say, Rengifo. Just quotes Elf.
Yep.
Love it. Francisco. Luis Rengifo is actually like playing at a level that he kind of was in Anaheim. Like, do we think he can keep this up? Do we think Luis Rengifo can keep this up?
Can hope so for the next week, at least.
If you go back to Luis Rengifo and his, I mean, he was like the definition of consistent for a while. With the Angels, you know, he was able to hit his from 2022 to even last year, you know, he hit 264, 724 OPS, 264, 783 OPS, 300, 763 OPS. Last year in Anaheim, 238, 622 OPS, which isn't very good. And then this year, before he got DFA'd, he was hitting 205 with a 534 OPS. You can see why the Brewers were like, we don't need you anymore. And with the Padres, you know what Luis Rengifo's done in the 9 games in the Padres uniform? 433 with an 1152 OPS. He's got 2 home runs, got a double. He's driven in 7 runs. I mean, he looks a lot like the player that he was in Anaheim. I mean, he's better than the player that he was in Anaheim in this small sample size of 9 games. But even that, it gets his numbers back up to what they kind of were in, the last couple of years. Then it puts him at 237 on the year with a 620 OPS. Hopefully he can keep it up a little bit. It would be nice. I mean, if he turns into like the player that he is averaged to be, a 250 hitter with a 688 OPS, it's not something to knock your socks off, but that's not a bat. That's a decent bat in the bottom or bench bat of the lineup. Sure. I mean, hopefully he continues to swing a hot stick.
He's played his way into staying on the team for a little while, for sure.
I mean, he's lost a little bit of power since his big 2 years when he was 25 and 26 years old, when he hit 17 and 16. But be nice. I mean, it's better than your current alternatives right now.
Mm-hmm.
The Gavin Sheets has been in the opposite direction in the last 30 days. And I'm not overly surprised about that, because remember, he had a really good year last year after he was DFA'd by the White Sox. I mean, as of right now, Gavin Sheets is playing at a level that he kind of was in Chicago.
He's another one who's benefited a lot from Fernando not hitting home runs and Manny not hitting at all. He's one of those guys that, like Merrill, like Bogarts, have really gotten hidden by those other two as to how down of an offensive year he's had, feast and famine year that he's had.
The thing with Gavin Sheets, too, and this is why you definitely need an outfielder. Because Gavin Sheets, last year he had a 0.8 WAR, which is the highest WAR of his career. He played the most games of his career last year. Out of all years, that was his highest batting average of his career. It was his second highest on-base percentage of his career, behind his first year where he only played 54 games. So in full years, it was his best on-base percentage year. It was his best slug year. It was his best OPS year at 746. And he still had an OPS plus of 108. It's good. He's a little bit better than above average, which is awesome for a player that is kind of what you're asking him to do. This season, he has kind of regressed back to the mean. He actually has the second worst batting average of his career this year. He has, his on-base percentage is pretty much on par with what it's been. His slugging has been pretty much on par with what it's been. His OPS is still, kind of relatively where it's been. But if you look at the player that he was in Chicago over 4 years, he had a negative 2.9 WAR. He hit 230 with a 680 OPS. And this year, he's got a 0 WAR with a 214 batting average and a 709 OPS. I mean, he averages about, over 162 games, about 19 home runs per 162. He's hit 14 home runs this year. I mean, that's the third most home runs he's hit in a season. He's on pace to potentially get to that 19 he hit last year, but it's not totally shocking that Gavin Sheets has kind of regressed back to being a average to slightly below average player. I think a lot of people were surprised by that, the last month he's had. Be good to get Gavin Sheets going a little bit. They're going to need him, especially since he's controllable, right? But this is why they need a definite outfield bat, because I don't think you could do it with Sheets and Rengifo. Mickey Moniak, I think, added to that equation would make this offense a little bit better, too. When we come back, training camp has started in the NFL. We'll get to the latest news and notes around the National Football League. Final hour of the Braden Surprenant Show on a Tuesday, leading up to Gwen and Chris, and then Padres baseball at 6:40. Padres, Rockies. Oh my! But before we go to that, I do want to. We're gonna do this a little bit throughout the August, and as we lead into the NFL to keep you updated on what's going on in the National Football League. It's going to be our NFL training camp update. So we put together a little segment today. Let you know as training camps have started, what you got going on. And we're going to go through a couple of teams today. Not every single team. We're going to do different teams every day. Today, we'll start in the AFC with the New England Patriots. Fire up the music, Frank. Let's get this thing rolling. I missed that song.
Yeah, there you go. So we'll start with the New England Patriots. Mike Vrabel shut down a practice earlier this offseason after edge rusher Braden Swinson
He spells his name wrong, completely wrong.
Yes. Ended up on the top of franchise quarterback Drake May. Drake May?
Drake May?
Drake May.
Drake May.
Drake May.
Drake May.
Fast forward to training camp, and Swinson is suddenly getting first-team opportunities because of injuries. He says he's lost nearly 20 pounds, feels stronger than ever, and joked he's staying away from the moneymaker in Drake May. Drake May?
Drake May?
Drake May.
Drake May. Drake May? Drake May.
Drake May. All right, but here is the bigger picture. Is New England's season completely dependent on Drake May becoming a star immediately, or can Vrabel win games simply by rebuilding the defense first?
They have to protect Drake. I mean, come on, man. This is like common knowledge for any level of football. Do not touch the quarterback. Don't even come near the quarterback. And I say that as a defensive coach with the scout team quarterback. Don't touch the quarterback. Everything revolves around Drake May in that organization because he is supposed to be the franchise quarterback. Like, he goes down there in a massive world of hurt. So Patriots are not competing unless May becomes a top 10 quarterback quickly. They can do it whatever they can to make the defense better, but unless they make it like the early 2000s Ravens defense where Trent Dilfer was their quarterback, it's going to be tough for the Patriots to make it back to the Super Bowl after a big run that they had last year. AFC is loaded. Defensive improvement is very important, but they can't be the team that just wins ugly, right? Like, they have to, like, Drake, they need some weapons for Drake May. They got to let him turn into the quarterback that I think, and they probably think he could potentially be. And yes, the defense has gotten better, but, you know, Swinson becoming a contributor is very important. At the same time, like, you still need to protect Drake May as your number one priority. So hopefully this isn't a recurring thing in New England, or else they're going to have some problems. Anybody ask him about Rossini? Or
actually, you know what? That very good point on that, actually. Thank you very much for reminding me. As we will. Oh, no, that's not the right thing. Wait a moment.
No.
Here we go.
We're in a bunch of
He draws the foul.
That's for Go Aztecs in the chat there.
Okay, let's get to Kansas City.
All right, off to the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes looks healthy. He's moving better than he did during OTAs, rolling outside the pocket again. And Wednesday, he'll finally have Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and the rest of the offense together for a full team workout. After another disappointing end to last year, is this offense ready to become the most explosive unit in football again, or have defenses finally figured out a way to consistently slow down Kansas City?
I mean, we'll see how Mahomes does in the first couple of games. I mean, being able to play in practice is one thing. You got to be able to get game reps as well. You know, they got Worthy who could stretch defenses. Rice is healthy. You know, Kelsey's getting up there in age, and he doesn't have to be the guy he used to be. I think they're going to be better than they were last year, but until they start getting newer players, it's going to be difficult for them to be a top level offense. But Andy Reid's done a great job in Kansas City as their head coach and play caller. And Patrick, when you have a guy like Patrick Mahomes, I mean, and you protect him, he's going to make a lot of plays. So I still think Patrick Mahomes has an MVP level season left in him. I think he's probably got a couple left in him, but I think some defenses have figured him out. I don't think they're going to be as dominant as they were in the past. Eventually, a lot of these guys have to get paid, and you have to overcome that due to salary cap and the balance of power in the National Football League. So I think it's a little bit of both. I think Kansas City could get back to being a top 10 offense in the National Football League or stay around there. But I do also think that they're not going to be as dominant as they used to be. On to the NFC.
On to the NFC. The Green Bay Packers. Packers president Ed Policy. Yes?
Sure.
Right. Okay. Defended bringing back Matt LaFleur in the front office by saying quarterbacks developed best with continuity, not chaos. Jordan Love has made the playoffs every year as a starter, but Green Bay has just one victory to show for it. How much longer should Green Bay be satisfied with just simply making it to the postseason?
I don't think it's going to be much longer. I think this is LaFleur's last year if they don't win in the postseason. They need to start winning. They've proven that they could get there. They have a new quarterback. I mean, Jordan Love, how many years does Jordan Love need, right? I mean, to be like developed into a quarterback. He's done a good job in his first couple of years already in the NFL. I think a lot of people were questioning why the Packers drafted him when Aaron Rodgers was still their quarterback instead of giving Aaron Rodgers some weapons. Let LaFleur go this next year. They have to show that they can win in the postseason. I think they got to get to the NFC Championship game. Otherwise, LaFleur might be gone. I mean, they had 3 straight playoff appearances, but they only have 1 postseason win to show for it. The expectations obviously change when you get there all the time, as we see here in San Diego with the Padres. I mean, people want the Padres to advance. They don't want them to just make the playoffs. And I don't think Love is still like developing in a point where he can't handle a brand new coaching staff. With 3 straight playoff appearances, he makes the playoffs again in the 4th year, and they don't make a little bit of a run. 4 years in the NFL, plenty of time. He can handle a brand new coaching staff if that's the case. So I don't think making the playoffs is success forever.
And that game against a team that is known as
The Bears.
That was a crazy game too.
That was insane.
I thought LaFleur was gone at the end of the year. I honestly did. I thought he was going to get canned. This is probably his last year if they don't win a playoff game.
The Atlanta Falcons are up next. Falcons defensive tackle Brandon
Dorlus,
thank you. Says the best training camp usually includes a few fights because it means guys actually care. He says intense competition creates winning football. Are training camp fights a sign of a team that's ready to compete, or are they completely overrated every single year?
I love them. I think it's perfect. In fact, it's funny, like one of my friends that I did video with at TCU in college just hits his first year with the Steelers. He'd worked for the Cowboys for a long time. And I saw his picture at training camp, and the Steelers had a fight like within the first, couple of minutes of training camp. Of day one, right? Like Steelers already got into a fight. It's necessary. I think eventually, as a coach, you're sitting there waiting for somebody to show that passion, that fire, and you don't want it every day. At that point, it gets out of hand. But one or two fights in practice in this sport, and this is a violent sport, it's needed, and that's at all levels. I mean, that is literally at all levels. I mean, you need some fight out there. I mean, you make it through all of camp at any football level, aside from maybe Pop Warner, but even Pop Warner, those little kids go feisty. You need a little bit of some passion and fire. It's the hot sun. You're competing. It's a physical game. It's a violent game. It shows competitiveness. The controlled intensity is healthy. Just make sure nobody gets hurt, right? And, the head coach is always going to be like, what are we doing? Like, this is going to get us penalties. But deep down, the head coach is like, all right, good. We had some fight there. So as long as they knock it down quick and it doesn't happen every day or it doesn't happen way too much, there's something to be said about training camp fights, scrimmage fights that give you a little spark. I mean, it's like in hockey, right? When a guy gets into a fight, sometimes you just need it for the spark. So I don't think they're overrated. But if it happens more times than not, that's usually a disaster team. So it's kind of like the player only meetings in baseball. You only got a couple of these that you can cash in on.
Cool. So Braden was the one that was causing all the fights at Cathedral. Got it.
That's right. Let's start fights.
Matthew Stafford finally took the field for training camp, and Sean McVay couldn't stop praising him. Says he looks sharp with great timing and rhythm, but the Rams are still limiting Stafford's workload while trying to figure out what life after Stafford eventually looks like. Are the Rams right to manage Stafford carefully, or is it time to start seriously preparing for a future at quarterback?
They probably need to draft a guy soon. Stafford's great. I mean, he's done a great job in LA, and as long as he continues to play, they're gonna be in contention with him playing. But he can't do it forever, obviously. And it's probably within this year or next year. It's probably time to start thinking about his replacement. So at least he could go learn from Stafford, and then you can move on to the next guy. That's worked out for a lot of quarterbacks. I would imagine it's probably going to start happening with the Rams here soon. I don't think anybody in last year's draft is good enough for that. So I think the Rams got to be on the lookout for getting another quarterback that they believe in, that they think he can do this. So you got Puka Nacua, who's elite offensively. I mean, their offense is awesome, and their defense is badass. So they're in a good spot. And I think, they're the favorite right now in the NFC.
There you go. Final team, the San Francisco 49ers. Mike Evans is already making an impact in San Francisco, not just helping Brock Purdy, but actually teaching the 49ers defensive backs how receivers think. Meanwhile, the defense had the better day Monday, intercepting Purdy and making life difficult for the offense. Is adding veteran leadership like Mike Evans the missing ingredient for another Super Bowl run, or does San Francisco's championship window simply come down to Brock Purdy taking another step forward?
It's going to come down to Brock Purdy now, because a lot of the talent that they surrounded him with is gone. Deebo Samuel's gone, and the high-level production of Deebo Samuel is gone. What are you going to do with Christian McCaffrey back there? He's kind of getting older in terms of his injury cause, right? George Kittle, another guy that gets hurt a lot. Mike Evans is another guy that gets hurt a lot up there in age. I think the further you go through this, after the fact that you gave this guy a ton of money, Brock Purdy is going to be the quarterback that determines whether or not you can win a championship or not. And I'm not a big believer in Brock Purdy. Niners fans always get super upset about that, but I don't really think it matters how many veterans you add right now. I mean, it's going to come down to Purdy. It's going to be on Purdy's shoulders, and this is the guy you're rolling with, because this is the player that you decided to sign. I mean, it was working out before because you had all this money that you were buying. You had a great offensive line. You had a great defensive line. You built from the trenches out. You had weapons all over the place, and you were paying Mr. Irrelevant league minimum to be your quarterback, and he was playing above what a league minimum quarterback was. As soon as they gave Brock Purdy the contract, he becomes the focal point of this team. It's the same thing with the Ravens and Joe Flacco, right? The Ravens won a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco. They gave him a ton of money. And what did the Ravens do when they gave him a ton of money? They came back down to earth, because you know what? They couldn't spend the money on the talent that they had that surrounded Joe Flacco, and then it created the whole meme of, is Joe Flacco a lead or not, right? So it's going to come down to Brock Purdy. The Mike Evans from a veteran standpoint is great. It's not great from a health standpoint in a sport that you play 17 games now, right, in 18 weeks, and in a sport where guys go down, and they got a lot of guys on that team that go down very easily. They have their defense is coming back from injury with a lot of their players. Offensively, they have guys that have gotten hurt a lot, even before San Francisco, even before the conspiracy about the cell tower thing over there at the practice facility. It's going to be ride or die with Brock Purdy. That's what the Niners are going to be. So that's going to be a fun division. Hard Knocks is with the Seahawks this year, which is interesting because they just won. I thought that had to go to. Doesn't that usually go to a team that didn't make the playoffs and didn't?
That's what I thought it was.
Did everybody just say no, and the Seahawks were like, "Yeah, let's do it"?
I know there were things. I knew it was teams that had new quarterbacks couldn't do it. Teams with new head coaches couldn't do it. So I'm not sure what the deal is.
Yeah, so it was if you made the playoffs, you didn't. If you made the playoffs, you didn't have to do it, right? You were out.
Didn't have to.
You could say no, right?
Yeah.
Eventually somebody had to get stuck with it. So if you made the playoffs, you didn't have to. And I forgot all the Hard Knock rules. It was playoffs
I know
after
the first year quarterback, the new quarterback, and the new head coach. I know those were two.
Yeah,
for
new
sure.
head coach can say no. Okay, so the NFL can force a team to participate in the HBO training camp edition of Hard Knocks if they do not meet specific exemption criteria. First-year head coach. Under the revised rules, a franchise cannot be forced to participate if they meet any of the following criteria. First-year head coach, recent appearance, right, and in-season show commitment. Playoff exemption has been removed.
Okay.
And volunteers are always accepted. So, I mean, Seattle could have volunteered if they wanted to.
They could have done, for sure.
Brand new ownership. They already won. I don't know how high the expectations are. I'm going to be curious to watch what the Seahawks do in Hard Knocks. But the NFL eliminated that rule, so probably you can see what it's like to be in a good organization. It's always so bad. How many times have we seen the Jets do Hard Knocks?
Exactly. Just a couple more news and notes around the NFL. Jalen Carter, defensive tackle for the Eagles, agrees to a 4-year, $152 million contract extension that could go up to $160, $106 guaranteed. Baker Mayfield expected to play out his deal with the Bucs and become a free agent. The Vikings signing Brian O'Neill to an extension through 2030 for $96 million. Trying to see how much guaranteed it is. It's not immediately viewable in the article, so I don't care. And Aaron Rodgers saying there's no debate that this year will be his last in the NFL. We'll let the Aaron Rodgers retirement tour begin.
Again?
Yeah.
All right. That's fair enough. There's your camp update, if you will. Camp update.
Update.
Camp date. We'll have more teams again tomorrow. A lot of teams are still reporting to camp today for training camp, which means they'll start practice tomorrow. But we're back in action. Is the Hall of Fame game Sunday?
I don't know.
Hall of Fame game 20.
It's usually it's usually the week before preseason starts.
It's August 6th. Somebody lied about what football is going to be on next Sunday because they said this is the last Sunday without football. But this Sunday is August 2nd.
I think it means. I think that was saying this is when football season.
Oh, without
for
actual
all
football.
the levels are kicking off this weekend.
So they will be playing on Thursday, August 6th at 5:00. This game got rained out last year, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
It's the Cardinals and the Panthers. Oh my!
There are going to be some diehard nerds that are going to be watching that game and living and dying on every snap. My friend is in a fantasy league that's already done their fantasy draft.
That's stupid.
Yes.
That is beyond stupid.
100%.
By the way,
I think it was Thursday night, I think.
We need to start getting Eddie Brown back on
Yes.
for fantasy football, I think, starting maybe Thursday. Got to start doing the preview of the draft. We got to get people ready for their draft. If you draft your fantasy football team
before training camp even starts,
if you do it really before Labor Day weekend, you are messing with disaster. I understand timing, but I think the week before and the week of Labor Day weekend, so that's your draft time. If you draft any time before that, you are doomed because somebody is losing a first-round draft pick. There's always one major injury in the preseason or in training camp, and I mean it's beyond dumb.
I'll see if I can find my friend's team. I don't remember if he posted it in here or not.
Yeah, and hopefully they don't get cursed. When we come back, some new updates to what's going on potentially at the trade deadline. Baltimore Orioles are open for business. And what's the price tag for Robbie Ray? Might be more affordable than you think. We'll talk about that next. MLB Trade Deadline is less than a week away. It's a week from Monday. It's August 3rd. And the biggest question isn't just who gets traded. It's what those moves say about each team's ambition. The Dodgers are in their own category, World Series or bust. Teams like the Yankees, Braves, Brewers, and Rays are contenders in their leagues, but they have to decide whether now is the time to go all in. Padres are one of the most fascinating teams, of course. They have the talent to compete, but the big question is whether they need another frontline star to become a real October threat. Meanwhile, teams like the Mets and Giants have to decide whether to sell
after disappointing seasons, trade deadline doesn't just reshape rosters, it reveals which teams truly believe they can win a championship. Every year leading up to the MLB trade deadline, we spend weeks asking the same questions. Who should buy? Who should sell? Who needs pitching? Who needs offense? But sometimes the most important question isn't what move will a team make? It's what does the move tell us about how the team sees itself? That's the idea behind MLB's ambition tiers on MLB.com heading into the August 3rd deadline, because every trade tells a story. A team trading for an ace is saying, we believe this is our year. A team adding a bullpen arm is saying, we're close, but we're not going all in. And a team selling while sitting near contention is telling everyone, we don't think this roster is good enough. And with so many teams still fighting for playoff spots, this deadline could reveal which franchises truly believe they belong in October. Let's start with tier number 1, World Series or bust.
World Series or bust, the Los Angeles Dodgers.
I think that's basically it.
Tier 2, contending,
moving on.
Contending sustainably. The Yankees, Brewers, Rays, and Braves. These are franchises that expect to be competitive every single year. The Yankees might have been in tier 1 if not for injuries, especially the uncertainty surrounding Aaron Judge. But if Judge returns healthy, New York immediately becomes one of the most dangerous teams in baseball. Atlanta are interesting because they have experience making aggressive deadline moves. Alex Anthopoulos has shown he will trade prospects if he believes a championship window is open. The Brewers and Rays are fascinating because they think because they have reached this position without spending like traditional contenders. So the big question is, well, number one, do they finally push all of their chips into the middle? And two, with you being a part owner of the Atlanta Braves, have you thrown your hat into the ring here with Alex Anthopoulos?
These 4 teams in particular, I don't think the Yankees have interesting enough prospects to make too many significant moves. The more we look into this, because of the fact that they were interested in Mason Miller and Adrian Morejon, the more I just go, I don't really like what they have to offer. And especially if they're not going to offer George Lombard Jr. I mean, they have the 26th best farm system in baseball for a reason. I mean, they have a couple of good players here and there, but notice the names they keep dangling out there. They're players that aren't very good. It's like Will Warren is not very good. I mean, even a team like the Padres that needs starting pitching, it would be a mistake to get a guy like Will Warren. He's not that great. He's not knock your socks off. Spencer Jones, Jason Dominguez. I mean, these are guys that the Yankees don't want anymore. And if they're going to make any type of significant trade, they're going to have to give up a Dax Kilby. They're going to have to give up a George Lombard Jr. I see they add at the fringes. I don't think they have the capital to potentially actually add what they need to add. The Brewers, until they go all in, I will refuse to believe that they will ever go all in. They haven't shown that once over the last handful of years. They've made the playoffs, I think, 7 out of the last 8 years, and they've gotten bumped by the Dodgers in almost every single one of them, or they have failed to advance in the playoffs. It's because they take away from their team more than they add to their team at the deadline. The Rays are always a little cautious, right? They don't have too many resources. I don't think they go all in, but they'll definitely add at the deadline. And the Braves have the ability to go all in, and I think Atlanta does after the last couple of seasons of being disappointing due to injuries, plus the fact that they never really know if they're going to have a full team going in October or not. They always get some rough injuries here and there. But that gets us to tier 3 and teams that can make noise in October. I mean, it's like the Phillies and the Cubs who have, they're both, if they combine teams, they'd be really good. Cubs have no pitching. Phillies have no offense. Red Sox are just on a resurgence right now. But, I mean, everybody wanted that entire front office fired about a month ago. Mm-hmm. The Guardians are always around. Right, and Seattle takes another big loss on Monday, and their schedule is difficult, and it's going to get even more difficult, and they got no offense. And the thing that they have is pitching, and their pitching is not really helping them out right now. I mean, this is the most interesting group of the bunch.
We spoke about it on Monday's show about Lance McCullers.
Win a pair of tickets to Guns N' Roses at Snapdragon Stadium September 2nd. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. 833-288-973, 833-288-973. Fifth caller, as we go to break,
You will win a pair of tickets to Guns N' Roses at Snapdragon Stadium on September 2nd. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. If you call early, you'll get cut. So you can't call early. You got to call when we go to break. That's so I don't forget, Frank, because I will forget. All right, a couple of things that happened throughout the show today on some reports to keep people updated on before we talk about the Padres and Rockies in our final segment. It's Jeff Passan had about an hour-long podcast or episode in which he was just laying out a lot of stuff that's going on. And there was a couple of things that I thought were interesting that Jeff Passan brought up. And it's a couple of things that might affect the Padres and some that don't. But the first thing I saw about the trade deadline was the Baltimore Orioles and how disappointing this core has been. And they're listening on calls for guys like Adley Rutschman and Jackson Holliday and some of these young core players that they were thinking about. These young players that they wanted to build their team around. Like this is the conversation. So like the Orioles have had conversations with other teams on the following players per Jeff Passan: Jackson Holliday, Adley Rutschman, Colton Cowser. And, this is the group that they were expected to take them to the promised land, and it's been incredibly disappointing. And this just kind of goes to show, Frank, I mean, when you have an opportunity to go for it, you should go for it like the Orioles did a couple of years ago. They should have went for it instead of keeping and hoarding all their prospects, because you never know when your window is going to be as open as it is. And the Orioles failed to do that a couple of years ago to add pitching. And now they might just be breaking up that young core and having to start over, and they got nothing to show for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd take Adley Rutschman. I don't know how you're going to get Adley Rutschman, but I'd take him.
Depends on the timing with him and Ethan Salas as well.
If you keep Ethan Salas,
yep.
You never know. I mean, the latest update we had from Kevin Acee was nobody is untouchable, not even Ethan Salas.
And again, I think that just comes with the territory of being on an A.J. Preller general managed team.
I think so too.
I think that you kind of take it in the same vein as Mason Miller right now. It's going to be a high price, but if you can match it, if you're as crazy as I am, I'll do it.
Ken Rosenthal mentioned this.
Bless you.
Everybody's favorite journalist, Ken Rosenthal.
Sorry.
Took a little bit from our in-studio audience. Now the Guardians took the lead back.
Yeah, we had to borrow MLB Network's in-studio audience. So it took them a second to come running down here.
Ken Rosenthal reporting about an hour ago on Foul Territory that multiple teams are expected to start calling the Tigers about Tarek Skubal. Tarek Skubal. Quote, the action is just beginning, and I expect over the next few days it's going to get even hotter, which goes into what Jeff Passan said earlier today as well. He put out that he thinks things are going to really get going on Friday, which is interesting. I'm not surprised, though. I mean, the trade deadline being on a Monday is kind of odd. I mean, we've had it on almost every single day, like every random day. But having the trade deadline on a Monday is so weird to me. I would imagine this weekend's probably going to heat up, and you're going to see most of the trades happen this weekend.
Yeah, it is I don't see it being. I mean, I can kind of get it because it's an off day. Let me see how many teams are playing on that day. I would have to assume it's a rather light day for Major League Baseball.
On Monday?
Yeah.
I know the Padres are playing the
Diamondbacks. But Monday it's either Monday or
light day.
It's either Monday or Thursday is usually the light day with a lot of teams traveling.
There are 8 games on Monday.
You got 8 games.
Nationals, Phillies, Cardinals, Yankees. Those are important games of the Pods. Dodgers, Cubs. Wow. Pirates, Brewers. Giants, Rangers, Blue Jays, Astros, Rays, Rockies, Padres, Diamondbacks.
And the only ones that are like geographically close to each other are Washington, Philly, Padres, Diamondbacks. That just makes it more odd.
I like having the July 31st deadline. I think this gets negotiated during the CBA. They set the dates out there, whatever. All right, let's go back to the other things that he was talking about. In terms of the Padres, he had this today. This is all part of this little excerpt that he had. But the Padres are telling teams that if they want access to Mason Miller, nobody in the acquiring organization is off limits. Teams like the Yankees and Mariners have been linked as potential fits that could offer controllable pitching. There's also been discussions of packages that can involve moving salary, maybe as Xander Bogaerts, potentially.
Yeah, if you're the Yankees, that's an immediate. Cam Schlittler has to be a part of the deal. Period.
Yeah, there's nobody that's off limits, right? I mean, I don't think it's George Lombard Jr. they're talking about.
No, they're talking.
They're not talking about him. They're talking about a guy like Cam Schlittler.
They're talking about Schlittler. They're talking about maybe even Garrett Cole, a guy who's got.
It's definitely not Garrett Cole.
Well, no, I'm saying like a guy who's.
It's going to be something
top
ridiculous.
line starter. He's under control with a big contract, so that's more what you're looking at.
As for the Giants. And I find the Giants interesting because, in this market of starting pitching, and everybody needs starting pitching, I mean, I think the Padres align well with the Giants in terms of a trade. I think they align well with the Rockies in terms of a trade, too, in terms of, like, not, buying, high.
Not going all in.
But, you look at the Giants. I don't necessarily say they should do this, but I could totally see the Padres going after like Luis Arraez at the deadline because he's a rental and they offered him a contract in the offseason and he wanted to play second base and all this other stuff. But, Robbie Reyes had a decent year. He's 9-6 with a 3.16 ERA. He's been fine for the Giants. That's not like a crazy ad. And my thing would be, okay, well, let's see what it's going to cost. And according to Jeff Passan, I mean, he's telling Giants fans, hey, you should probably temper your expectations for the deadline. Jeff Passan said Robbie Ray, he believes any return will not be significant for Robbie Ray. That's interesting to me. Mm-hmm. Is it because he's a rental? I don't even know. I don't even know what his contract is. Off the top, I mean, it's not my week to watch him.
Let me see.
It will be this weekend, I guess, but I don't know. I don't know how many years. He's probably a rental. Would be my guess.
I got you. Relax. Calm down.
Robbie Ray is a rental.
Yeah, he's a free agent at the end of the year.
So he's
34 years old.
Yeah, he's getting $25 million this year. I mean, at that point, probably 2/3 of it's going to be gone. You still have to pay a little bit, but not significant for a rental. Not for a rental that makes money, I guess. So from that perspective, I think the Padres align well with two rentals in Robbie Ray and Luis Arraez, and I don't think they'd have to give up like Cruz Schoolcraft. The only problem with like Luis Arraez is like, where does he play in the field?
Because with the way Jake Cronenworth's been hitting, you can't take him out right now.
No, you can't really, and
unless you just
want to make it the DH. Somebody has to play the. They need an outfielder more than they need like just like a bat.
Unless you just rotate everyone on the infield, everyone gets a DH day, and then you just move Jake to third, then move him to short.
I mean, you could do that. We have seen AJ Preller do things like this before, like just grab guys that are good and then figure it out later. It's interesting to see that as well. So, some of the rumors today were, I thought, interesting, but he says Luis Arraez has appeared. This is what Jeff Passan said. Luis Arraez has appeared high on his trade candidates list, or this is what he wrote. Other names like Heliot Ramos have circulated in broader deadline chatter. Overall tone from Jeff Passan is measured rather than projecting major splashy pickups or big sell-offs. Luis Arraez would be a good little deal. I don't. Here's the downside of this, Frank. It's like
Moniak.
I would too, because he can play in the outfield. But like, if Gavin Sheets was playing better as of late, you could have kept you could keep Ty France and you could get rid of Gavin Sheets, and you could have Ty France be, he could play. Maybe he could be the DH. You mix him with the Rise at DH and first base. I mean, I'd rather have
him. I'd rather have Ty France play first base because he's a Gold Glove first baseman. But there's like him and Luis and Jake Cronenworth kind of rotating. The problem with like Sheets though is he was playing some outfield for you. So I feel like right now trying to acquire Luis Arise for like vibes. And the fact that he's already been on the team before is like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole.
And also you're just going right back to what didn't really work last year.
Exactly.
Same exact lineup.
When we come back, Padres back in action tonight, 6:40 start. The best they could do at the end of the day today is be 1.5 games back of a wild card spot. Michael King, Michael Lorenzo will get your preview of this quick 2-game series against the Rockies when we return. 1:41 on a Tuesday. Padres baseball coming up in just a couple of hours. Already had one game go final in Major League Baseball today. Kind of helps the Padres out a little bit. Not that the Reds were really competing too much at this point. Sounds like the Reds are going to be very much part of the trade conversations, according to Ken Rosenthal. Guardians beat the Reds in game one of a doubleheader today, 6-5. Braves and Mets has been postponed today. Inclement weather. Come on, man. After the Mets had the big win yesterday to start their comeback in the second half.
Did you hear the videos of Ron Darling and Keith Hernandez just eviscerating the Braves manager for keeping that kid in for as long as they did?
Oh, for Walt Weiss?
yeah. They destroyed him for keeping Thomas in for that long.
I did not. It wasn't my week to watch. That was the only game I wasn't paying attention to because it didn't matter. But I did see that the Mets were kicking their ass, though.
What was Thomas's line yesterday? Hold on. I'll get this up right here. Mets beat the Braves yesterday 14-3. Their pitcher, Braves pitcher Connor Thomas, his line 2 2/3. It was a reliever, by the way. Martin Perez started the game with 5 innings, 3 runs on 8 hits. Connor Thomas, 2 2/3 innings, 11 runs, 10 hits, 5 walks. For a reliever.
Not a great day.
Through 78 pitches.
I mean, make it a reliever. Make it a reliever. Wear it at 78 pitches is rough. Super rough.
In just his 3rd outing in Major League Baseball, 2nd this year. He now has a lifetime ERA of 20.83.
Next out he gets, that thing's gonna plummet. Who won our tickets today?
Ryan in San Diego won the tickets.
Congratulations. We'll be giving away those tickets again tomorrow.
And he was pumped.
He was stoked to see Guns N' Roses. So they paid attention. I said when we go to break, and we had full phone lines. So that's awesome. All right, we got the Rockies and the Padres today. Next, 10 minutes or so, final 10 minutes of the show. Padres return home after sweeping the Marlins, and while they're still at 500, suddenly back within striking distance of the postseason. Just a game and a half out of the final wildcard spot. 6 straight home games before the trade deadline. Fangraphs playoff odds have climbed to 15.1%. It's the 8th best out of 15 teams in the National League. They just got to be in the top 6 for that. I mean, some of the teams that have a very high mark have a pretty decent lead in the playoffs, in the standings, if you will. But Philadelphia's not playing that great. Pittsburgh's not playing that good. St. Louis isn't playing that great. I mean, so it's opened it up. And the Padres have won 6 of the first 7 meetings against Colorado this season. They need to continue that these next 2 days. I mean, this is a series the Padres obviously cannot afford to lose, which means they would got swept. They can either sweep, split, or get swept in these 2 games. But you don't have any leeway here. You have to sweep the worst team in baseball. I mean, Colorado owns the worst winning percentage in baseball. And they've been awful on the road. They're 18-36 on the road, have one of baseball's worst pitching staffs, and sit 13 games out of a playoff spot. That's in the wild card. If the Padres are serious about making the playoffs, this isn't a series of splitting. They need to destroy the Rockies. So anything short of a sweep is kind of disappointing, I would say, Frank, in this particular series.
Yes,
I get it's hard to do, but still, at this point, you've put yourself in this position.
Especially since you're already 6-1 against the Colorado Rockies this season. You go in, you play San Francisco. You got 2 of the National League's worst that they have to offer coming into your building on the final stretch towards the trade deadline. If you really want to prove to ownership, general manager, fans, that you have a serious intent on making a playoff run, you've got to handle business here. 5-1 would be awesome over these next 6 days.
Can the offense finally build momentum? I think is a key storyline number 2 in this series, because for months the offense has held this team back, but the last month and a half, the Padres have been a lot better. I mean, season numbers are not anything to write home about, but a lot of it's because of how bad they were in the first half of the season. They're 27th in OPS as a team, the Padres are, this entire season, and 20th in run differential, but lately, Manny Machado, 7 home runs in July, 964 OPS. Jackson Merrill, 7 home runs, 904 OPS. Ty France, 6 home runs, team best 1006 OPS in July. These guys are hot right now and carrying this team. On the other side, Xander Bogaerts, Gavin Sheets, 534 OPS in July for Bogaerts. Sheets, I'm a little surprised this number. 465 OPS in the month of July for Gavin Sheets. He has been just in a rut. And the Padres could really use those 2 guys to get going, because they already have, 3 of their 4 mainstays doing really well, and Ty France. The third storyline to monitor here, Michael King has been a lot better than his record. Gaze the game 1 starter tonight. He's 6-7 with a 3.24 ERA. The Padres have lost 3 of his last 4 starts, despite King posting a 1.96 ERA during that stretch. He has gotten 0 run support. And last year against Colorado, he had a complete game shutout, 2 hits allowed, 8 strikeouts, still his only career complete game in his, in his career, obviously. But Michael King needs to continue to have the success against Colorado he's had in the past, and hopefully they can get him some run support tonight, Frank, and you just cruise to the finish line in today's game.
Yeah, this is a big week for your season and for fan excitement and engagement in going into this playoff run. Taking both of these games against Colorado is very, very possible. It's not as easy as it maybe has been over the last couple of years. Again, you're 6-1 against them this season already. It is doable, and taking 3 out of 4 against San Francisco is definitely doable over the course of this weekend.
Colorado can hit. They got a good offense. They can't pitch at all, which is a little scary considering the fact that the Padres have not done well against teams that can't pitch, which makes no sense, but it is what it is. Although Miami's bullpen was not very good. The Padres hit them extremely well. The Rockies aren't completely helpless offensively. I mean, they're 5th in MLB OPS with a 741 OPS, but their pitching staff, 30th in rotation ERA with a 6.03, 27th in bullpen ERA with a 5.01. Hunter Goodman has become one of baseball's breakout hitters. He's got 31 homers, an 888 OPS, and a 1083 OPS in July. Kyle Karros is also swinging it well. You don't want to get yourself in a slugfest with Colorado. You got to be able to lock them down a little bit. Michael King will have a little bit of a challenge tonight, obviously with the Rockies offense, but Padres offense needs to just continue what they have been doing over the last 3 days, and hopefully this continues to make them hot for a longer period of time. But the offense itself has been hot for a month now, so it all leads into this trade deadline coming up, and these 6 home games may determine a little bit of how AJ Preller approaches the deadline. A hot week, maybe you're buying more aggressively. A bad week, maybe you're buying and selling. I just don't see them in a position, despite how this week goes, them changing their mind on adding to this team. I think they're going to add to this team regardless on Monday.
Yeah, and again, as we talked about before, it's not necessarily your record, it's proximity to playoff position. And the Padres are well within striking distance of a playoff position, and they have the players on the team that are able to make a run if given the opportunity. So, yeah, I think, again, as we talked about the 5 levels at the deadline, buy, all in, buy, stay still, sell, fire sale, we're still firmly in buy at the current moment.
Pitching matchups today, Michael Lorenzen and Michael King. Let's talk about the Rockies starter. He's 3-9 with a 6.53 ERA, leads Major League Baseball in hits allowed, tied for National League lead in losses. Opponents are hitting .327 against Lorenzen with a 914 OPS. His career against the Padres is a 5.59 ERA. They have to tag this guy. I mean, they absolutely have to tag Michael Lorenzen tonight. Michael King, on the other side, 6-7, 3.24 ERA, His last 4 starts, he has a 1.96 ERA, and the Padres are 1-3 in those starts, as I mentioned earlier. Last start for Colorado, as I mentioned, complete game shutout, 8 strikeouts. I give the Padres the edge in Tuesday's matchup. Wednesday, well, you're probably going to get the TBA situation for the Pods. Kyle Hart opener, Griffin Canning coming in after. Maybe you're going to have all hands on deck again. I mean, if Griffin Canning has a bad day against the Rockies on Wednesday, well, we'll see if they decide to go with him at all. I don't know how much longer you can keep this guy, pitching. But they're going against Gabriel Hughes. He's a rookie. He's 0-2 with a 2.79 ERA. He's a former 10th overall pick. Only 4th career start. AAA this year in Albuquerque. 5.31 ERA. Strikeout to walk is probably a little bit better than his ERA, or something better to judge in the PCL than ERA, but they should be able to handle him as well. You can't make the excuse now, Frank, on Wednesday. We'll talk more about Wednesday's game tomorrow when we're out there at the loft, but Wednesday shouldn't be the excuse if we haven't seen this guy before.
No, absolutely not. This team is too good right now. This offense has been too good to be able to throw that excuse out there. No shot.
Players to watch for the Rockies offensively that are going to be a problem. Hunter Goodman, 31 home runs, 888 OPS, one of baseball's hottest hitters right now. Got to avoid him. Jake McCarthy, 842 OPS, 58 RBIs, 17 steals. Kyle Karros, son of Eric Karros, he's got 4 homers this month and a 902 OPS. So the Padres have the Rockies the next 2 days. They got to be able to sweep this team in 2 days. Get back on, add some wins. Continue the winning streak right now. So we can keep playing the winning streak sounder. Bold prediction for tonight. Padres, I think, continue hitting home runs, but I think it's somebody other than the 5 that have already hit one in the second half. How about that?
Padres win a laugher. And by laugher, I mean 6 or more.
That would be nice. That would be nice. All right, so I think somebody other than Merrill, Machado, Fransford, and Heath or Tatis hits a homer tonight. Maybe Gavin Sheets hits one.
There you go.
Campusano home run. I haven't seen one of those in a long time. Quinn and Chris coming up next. Frank and I will be at the loft tomorrow. Look forward to seeing you out there. Hopefully talking about a Padres sweep potential against the Colorado Rockies. They start the 2-game series against Colorado tonight at 6:40. Equal Water SoCal Padres pregame show at 5:40 right here on 97 through the Fan.